Hey, good morning, everybody, and it is a beautiful morning. If you like rain and wind and spooky forecast, it's a beautiful day. It is Wednesday, the 11th of March. We welcome you to breakfast with Roger and friends, and that includes Teri Chamberlain. Good morning, Teri.
Good morning.
And I can't believe he's here so early. Tyrus Kileon. Good morning, Tyrus. Good to see you.
Good morning. Yeah. How we doing?
How were the storms in Princeville overnight?
Wasn't too bad.
You said you heard a whoosh in
Yeah.
the middle of the night?
Yeah, it was rumbling, a little bit of a whoosh, little rumbling. So I mean, other than that, not too bad.
I know, and we'll report on it. Some people lost power in portions of Tazewell County, but really we, pardon the expression, weathered the storm pretty good.
For all the dire predictions, yes, I thought we did.
Yeah, you're exact. Kankakee, I think of all the areas suffered the most. I think 7 to 9 people injured in Kankakee County. But other than that, and my hat's off to Chris Yates of Channel 31. My Lord, he was there for hour after hour, and I know he was so happy when he says, okay, we're going to go essentially quit. And the young guy over at 25, he was there for hour after hour. It appears that the local TV stations are running short-handed now. You know, it used to be when we had dire warnings like we had, there would be at least 2 people and sometimes 3 people reporting, between Chuck Collins as an example and whomever at 25, and Chris Yates and Molly whatever.
No, Naslin?
Well, that's Nathan is in the kitchen.
No, Nathan Kitchen.
Yeah.
But isn't it Molly Naslin? Isn't that her?
No, I'm not so sure. But just in time, we were about ready to take roll.
And I rolled right in.
You rolled right in. But last night, each station only had one person. They sent Molly, Channel 31, they sent her on the road. I never did understand the value of that, other than say, and now we switch to our mobile unit for all the latest. How'd you weather the storm last night,
Not
David?
bad. There were supposed to be some thunder boomers, as they say,
Yeah.
big boomers,
Yeah.
but actually we just had baby boomers,
Yes.
as it were.
Baby.
Yeah.
We did not have very many storms. Actually, it was fine. I mean,
Yeah.
no.
Not
Usually
even that bad at all.
my yard is full of sycamore branches, but they were not in.
So usually in Princeville, when there's like wind or a gust of wind, like
Yes.
everybody loses power for sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But so this time,
No loss of power.
nothing, not
Yeah.
for me. So
And you know, they were saying power outage in Tazewell County, but you know, that's such a large area.
Yeah, it is.
So can you nail it down a little bit? Maybe in South Pekin, I think had some power outages according to Ameren. Ameren's not very good at letting people know. And the people who are affected, they know.
They already
true.
know.
Oh,
yeah.
exactly. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's.
I think so. I know people who live in Tazewell County. Yeah, I'm one of those, and I didn't lose any power.
No.
But I will tell you, I had the door open to the basement.
There
Oh
we go.
boy,
Yeah,
I fell asleep. It didn't
Yeah.
seem. I think I heard it
you're
rain.
feeling that wind then, huh?
yeah. The wind and the rain, and doesn't somebody sing about that?
Singing in the rain,
Well, that's one, but fire, wind, and
earth, wind, and
Earth,
fire.
wind.
From fire, but
well, the song, I think James
Taylor.
sings the wind and the rain.
Yeah, I think.
I thought there was.
I like
Hey,
James
we're
Taylor.
talking about the weather, so
we are.
why don't we just get into the news and report what we have this morning for our listener, as we like to the most comprehensive in your radio. Wind and the rain, you got it. All right, let's get into the weather, brought to you by Steve Sink. You know, he's the guy that knows about business. He's with PHX Affiliates. Been around for over 20 years, helping people buy and sell their business. If you're interested in business, not monkey business, but regular business, talk to Steve Sink. He's available today at 309-696-8508. Well, we'll start with a look at the weather. That's really our top story. Plenty of spooky weather yesterday and last night, but the worst was in Kankakee County. 7 to 9 people injured. We have had and continue, apparently, some power outages in central Illinois, particularly in Tazewell County. About close to 1,000 people without electricity, reportedly. We were under a tornado watch and warning yesterday from 4 p.m. until 11. And today, showers and thunderstorms continuing. Here's the deal about weather that's important. Temperatures will start falling this afternoon, beginning around after the noon hour, to about 39 degrees by 1 o'clock. So I don't know what the story is, but temperatures are going to fall. Cold and windy tonight with a low 29 tomorrow. Increasing clouds, a high of 50 tomorrow night, cloudy and windy, a low 42. Friday, sunny and windy, 52. Saturday, it'll be cloudy and 51. Right now, we are at 50 degrees, and we're going to get a live and accurate weather report from our exclusive meteorologist, Kyle Varnold. Stay tuned. He's going to come in and, at least on the phone, chat with our listeners at 6:50 and 8:50 this morning. In the meantime, let's turn to the news with Terry and Dave.
Iran's leadership has shown no signs of giving up, even though its military and oil refineries have been devastated by unrelenting airstrikes. U.S. forces destroyed 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels near the strategic Strait of Hormuz. Iran is seeking to block the movement of oil tankers, but without much success. President Trump has warned more bombs and missiles are on the agenda for Iran until the government yells, "Uncle," as in Uncle Sam.
And the news media isn't helping the fight against Iran's state sponsors of terrorism. Reporters yesterday asked White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt how long the war was going to last. Those of us who are old enough to remember, myself not included, don't recall asking FDR how long World War II was going to last, or Harry Truman the same question regarding the Korean War.
Gas prices are up due to the conflict with Iran. Governor Gavin Newsom blames Trump for the high prices, but failed to acknowledge California levies the highest state gas rate at 71 cents a gallon. Illinois is in second place with 66.4 cents a gallon. New York Senator Chuck Schumer wants the president to dip into the oil reserve to help stabilize prices. However, when Trump sought to replenish the supply when prices were down, Schumer opposed the effort as another example of Schumer's short-term memory loss, said the White House.
There are a lot of polls conducted by news outlets, and most people take the results with a grain of salt or maybe a sack of other material. Republicans gleefully like to talk about an NBC poll showing those surveyed have a higher opinion of ICE agents than what they think about the Democratic Party. Governor Gavin Newsom and AOC. Trump was outpolled in popularity by Marco Rubio. Pope Leo rated the highest. Iran was last.
You know, I wonder about these surveys. We quote them, and that's kind of foolish because they never tell you how many they surveyed, whether X percent were Republicans, X percent Democrat, where was the location, and when was the survey taken. And yet, all of them, and Fox is the worst when it comes to survey. Millions of voters, and sometimes they don't say that. They say all voters are this way or that way. But we foolishly report on the surveys.
Survey says.
So keep your mouth shut.
Survey
Right?
says.
Yeah.
In medical news, the Mayo Clinic in Florida is conducting clinical trials using an innovative potential solution to treat people whose cancer has spread to their abdominal cavity. Mayo doctors are using aerosol chemotherapy directly on cancer cells in the peritoneum, the membrane that lines the abdominal cavity and organs within it. Officials say the procedure makes untreatable abdominal cancer treatable.
In local news, a Peoria County grand jury has indicted 18-year-old Davier Dillard for attempted murder, robbery, possession of a stolen vehicle, and fleeing officers. Dillard was the driver of a stolen Jeep that terrorized people in parts of Peoria last month. He's accused of trying to run over a 14-year-old on the way to Peoria High School before he was stopped by police at Maine and University using spike strips. His partner in crime, 18-year-old Quinzel Foy, has been charged with robbery. 4 others in the vehicle, all minors, have not been charged.
Morton residents are sad after learning the once popular Great Harvest Bread store will not reopen. The bakery restaurant has been closed since it was devastated by fire last November.
WEEK Television is in a contractual dispute with the Dish Network. Dish is threatening to drop Channel 25 and other gray media stations, owners of WEEK. The TV station is asking for viewers to call Dish to complain. It is all about money. And those are the news.
You bet. And it is all about the money. So we will see what we will see with those folks. In the meantime, let's get news from WCBU, brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, making a difference in the lives of their clients since 1993 with a range of home health services from skilled nursing to bathing and personal care. You can reach the folks at Spoon River 24/7 at 309-245-0723. Now more news from WCBU. Well,
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Ryan Denham. Opponents of a data center proposed to be built in Pekin cheered at a city council meeting when Mayor Mary Burris announced the city is no longer interested in the project. Pekin resident Mark Stevens is one of the opponents who is happy that project is no longer under consideration.
There's a difference, one, between hearing versus listening. And I thank the mayor, I thank the city council, I thank the staff of listening rather than just not paying lip service.
The council is expected to vote in 2 weeks to legally end its connection with the data center developer. A town hall and a data center planned for the next night at Pekin Community High School that was expected to draw hundreds has now been canceled. The recent mortality and morbidity report by the Illinois Department of Public Health reveals that people experiencing homelessness have a much higher rate of hospitalization and premature death. That report found that 3,000 people experiencing homelessness died from 2017 to 2023. Capital News Illinois reports experts say Illinois must push to be proactive, not reactive, to the needs of homeless communities. Governor J.B. Pritzker has proposed funding for Home Illinois be reduced by $7.6 million. The University of Illinois Extension is looking for volunteers to help plant 25 new oak trees in Woodford County. Those trees, planned for the Parklands Bluffs, will help combat carbon neutrality and nutrient runoff in the area. Both are issues affecting air and water quality and climate change and the environment. 40 other counties will join Woodford in the 4-H Green Communities Trees program to plant over 1,000 new trees statewide. Illinois and Cook County have erased more than $2 billion in medical debt for over 1 million residents. That is through a partnership with a nonprofit that buys medical debt for pennies on the dollar. Patients are getting an average of about $1,200 in relief since that program was started in 2022. Residents across Illinois say the relief has lifted long-standing financial burdens that had been sent to collections and in some cases affected their credit ratings. Lawmakers are divided on funding for that state program, with supporters pushing to expand it and critics raising concerns about spending. You can find more news at WCBU.org. I'm Ryan Denham.
All right, let's get into the world's first. Tyrus Kileon is here with the ladies. Good morning, Tyrus.
Good morning, Roger. Let's start this off with some Bradley basketball. Their season might be over after losing in the Murray Valley tournament to UNI 73-69. The Bradley girls basketball start their tournament Friday, 2:30 p.m. versus Northern Iowa in Iowa. Other news, Illinois basketball will play this Friday at 1:30 in the Big Ten tournament. Illinois girls basketball, they lost recently in the Big Ten tournament 64-58 to number 9 Iowa. NFL news, deals become official today at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So that's probably like 3 o'clock for us. And speaking of deals, the Ravens and the Raiders deal for superstar edge rusher Max Crosby fell through because the Ravens backed out. They're saying due to medical concerns. I just think they probably just backed out to back out because they're like, oh, maybe we don't want to give up the 2 first-round picks. So they just said, oh, it's medical concerns. So a couple of crazy stuff going on and a lot of concern around the league. They're like, well, maybe we don't do any deals with the Ravens anymore because a lot of people think it was bad faith on their part.
Oh, who cares?
Yeah, that's right. And then the Bears have made a series of moves. They got Safety Kobe Bryant for 3 years, $40 million. Linebacker Devin Bush, 3 years, $30 million. Neville Gallimore to a 2-year deal. Cleve Raymond from the Lions. He's a kick returner, wide receiver. He's pretty quick. Cam Lewis to a 2-year deal. He was on the Bills last year. He's been on the Bills for the last 6 years, actually. So just another depth piece. And then another one is Contavious Street. So he's.
Why
all
don't they
these
get
guys
some linemen, offensive linemen to block?
Yeah.
You got all these others. In the meantime,
Yeah.
the quarterback is running for his life.
Yeah,
But they got a great safety.
that's right. He can, but he can throw on the run, so it's fine. But the center retiring doesn't really help. So
Well, he retired, I think, the second week of the season, but he still played.
He was still on the roster.
and they'll figure out the left tackle situation because the rookie last year, he got a pretty serious injury that they said a lot of people don't come back from it. So we'll see if he's healthy enough to actually play. Probably not this year, maybe next year. But and then the key re-signings, Braxton Jones, offensive tackle, Daniel Hardy, DeMarco Jackson at linebacker. He filled in pretty good last year. And then Case Keenum getting that backup quarterback money that you just got to coach and hold the clipboard. But he actually has played
bad
well.
deal.
He has actually played well in the NFL before. MLB news, spring training, the Cubs lost to the Rangers 8-3. They played today at 3:05 p.m. versus the Royals. Cardinals lost yesterday 6-1. They play at 12:05 p.m. versus the Nationals today. Cardinals also sent down rising star Joshua Baez, who made his case to probably make the team right now.
Yeah.
They'll probably give him like a full year down there in AAA, but
Memphis. Area.
he hit pretty well.
Well, apparently not.
Yeah.
They sent him down. If he hits
I
very
know.
well, they'll
Well,
keep him. What do you mean he did okay?
He did though. But
Well,
it's,
why didn't they keep him if he's that good?
Well, I think
They're not exactly. They gave away so many. You're a Cardinal fan, aren't you?
I am.
They gave
I
away
was-
so many of
Tread
their.
carefully here, Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So
I expect him to be up by the 1st of June.
he can be.
And I'm a
depending on,
Cub fan.
Well, Marvel
Yeah.
likes to move him back and forth, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I would say it's dependent on
Yeah.
what like Jordan Walker does
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the outfield. If they're not like hitting, then it's
Yeah.
like kind of like they're not progressing. Then he's
Let's-
coming up, I would say.
Let's test your knowledge of Cardinals. Who's the rest of the outfield?
So Lars Nootbaar, who
Who?
is
Lars.
Nootbaar,
Oh,
who
yeah.
is
Newt.
who is
Yeah.
What did you do? Hit about 198 last year?
now he got hurt again and kind
Well,
of
so he's batting 198.
he still hit all right.
Okay, what did he hit?
Probably was it 2?
Oh, he was above 2.
He was
Yeah.
above. He was
Yeah.
above 2.
Yeah.
I know that.
Well,
But maybe
whoop-
above 250,
whoopee.
but
That'll keep the kid down
maybe
in the
around
minor
260,
leagues.
13 homers or something like that. But his problem is he can't
He
stay
can't
on the
hit.
field. No, he just can't stay on the field and like progress throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Victor Scott, you got Jordan
Who?
Walker. Victor Scott's a young player. He's
Okay.
pretty
I
speedy.
think they're all young.
They are. Walker, he's young. He's 23. And
Are you a Cardinal fan too?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Liberatore.
Liberatore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the White Sox lost 11-7 last night.
That was a pitcher's duel.
Oh, yeah. And they played today at 3:05 p.m. versus the Angels. Phillies lost yesterday to the Yankees 4-2. They play the Blue Jays today at 12:05 p.m. Also, in the World Baseball Classic, Team USA will face elimination because they lost last night 8-6 to Italy.
No kidding. I
Yeah.
started to watch. They were praising the young guy who was going to be on the mound. These are all predominantly major league players or former major league players
Yep.
or hopeful major league players.
Yep. I'll tell you who hit good for the U.S. last night was Pete Crow Armstrong for the Cubs. He I think he had 2 homers in the
He's
game.
a horse. He's not a big kid either.
Nope. Is that his center fielder for the Cubs? The old Cubbies. And they wait to see what happens when Italy plays Mexico tonight at 7 p.m. So if Mexico wins, I think U.S. is okay. But if Italy wins again, then they're in. And
They will be eliminated.
oh yeah,
Nice going.
so yeah, that's crazy. We expect them to play in that
Yeah, in the championship game.
but
Well, you still got to play the game.
yeah, they might not. They might not anymore. In the NHL, the Blackhawks are 24-29-11, coming off a win versus the Utah Mammoth 3-2 in overtime. Frank Nazar with the game winner. Connor Bedard had 2 assists in the game. Rookie Drew Comesso had 22 saves out of 24. They move on to play the Mammoth again tomorrow at 8 p.m. in Utah. It's old Salt Lake City. The St. Louis Blues, who are 25-29-10, lost last night to the Islanders in overtime, 4-3. They play tomorrow, an away game versus the Hurricanes at 6 p.m. In the NBA, the Chicago Bulls, 27-38, coming off a gritty overtime win versus the Warriors. 130-124. Modest Buzelis had a career high 41 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Josh Giddey had another triple-double, his 17th as a Bull, with 21 points, 13 rebounds, 17 assists for him. Leonard Miller, a young player, had one of his best career games, 17 points, 11 rebounds, a block and a steal. Trey Jones, 22 points, 5 assists. Jalen Smith had clutch free throws in this one to tie the game to send it to overtime. 12 points and 12 rebounds for him. The next game is an away game. They play the Lakers at 9:30 p.m. tomorrow.
Where are they? Last place? That's just exciting news.
No.
West Coast starts at 9:30.
Oh, I know.
They're awful.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
They're not last, but they're like
Close to it.
yeah, and I don't think they're in the play-in anymore, so they're kind of in no man's land like they have been for the last
14 years.
how many years, right?
Since Michael Jordan, I think.
But
But
right, exactly, or since the D Rose era, that's. But they played well last night. It was kind of a game of runs, though.
did you watch the game?
I watched it. It was actually fun, and they actually kind of played well and like played for each other, and yeah, it was good to see. So, and Modest was really good. So, also in the NBA, the Miami Heat beat the Washington Wizards 150-129, but that's not the story. The story is
150 to 129.
Yep.
A lot of defense in that game.
right, and you're about to hear it because forward center Bam Adebayo scored the second most points in an NBA game with 83 points.
Oh my goodness, 83 points.
Sit in the corner and just go,
Yeah. My
He's a big
goodness.
man.
What did he do? Just stay at one end of the court and they threw it to him whenever they got a rebound?
I mean, it kind of sounds like because
83
he
points.
really could have had well over 100 points or more.
Doesn't Will Chamberlain hold the record?
You're right.
Yeah, I heard him
That's what I
talking
was
about
going to ask you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100 points.
Wilt the Stilt.
Wilt the still, yeah, he had
Yeah.
100 in an NBA game, but he could have had well over 100 in this game because he shot 20 for 43. So if you make more than that.
Well, you know, when I was growing up, if a kid did something like that, we called him a ball hog.
right,
Here's a guy shot how many times?
43. So
43 times. Hey, pass the ball to somebody else, you clown.
he's the big guy, so I think they just kind of
Threw the ball and said,
threw it
there.
in, and he just took them, and they're, the Wizards
That's,
are not that great, but
Well, they're better than the The Bulls.
They might be, honestly.
Careful.
I think the Bradley Braves are better than the Bulls.
7 of 22 from 3, and then 36 of 43 from the free throw line. So
Kemosabe.
they were hacking him, I guess. And he also had 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
That's right. One crazy game there, I guess. And that's it for
That's it for sports. That's the longest sports report in history, I think.
You're welcome.
You were busy
Lots of
while you were watching the Bulls play.
Oh, yeah.
Good for you. Well, we have the Wednesday morning quiz coming up, so I hope all of you are up late last night studying during the storm. We do have one sad note to report to our listeners, and that is that we're extending condolences to our dear friend, Hetty Elliott Gardner. Lost her husband yesterday, Zeb, retired firefighter. So we extend our condolences to Hetty and her family, and certainly to Zeb and his family, for that matter. And neat guy. And Hetty, we're thinking of you. As we say, we have our quiz coming up, as we do every Wednesday morning, and it's still sealed. Delivered by, I do see some fingerprints on it. It looked a little like, might belong to Terry Chamberlain. I'm not sure.
That's it for print.
Yeah, our forensics department
I'm
is
not on
on
file
it. Yeah.
anywhere, so you can't guarantee.
No, I can tell it has been sealed. There's a little bit of a tear over in one area, but it's been very well sealed. I think it's legitimate. I'm going to open it in front of our YouTube viewers to give you an idea so you can mentally prepare. Do I need to think sports predominantly, entertainment, political, geographical? Let us take a look at the first question. Oh, it's a cornucopia.
Oh, a cornucopia.
Here's one of the questions. When Chet Atkins was 6 years old, he used what type of wire to string his first musical instrument? Now that is a fascinating question. But think
Chicken
about
wire.
it. Think about that.
Fishing line.
Interesting. What record album was the first ever to be taken directly from a film's musical track? Boy, we've got some neat questions
Those
for.
questions, or were those just preliminaries?
Those were the questions
Oh, okay.
that you will be answering to the best of your ability coming up in a few minutes. In the meantime, let's summarize our news headlines this morning. And our news at the bottom of the hour brought to you by Kyle Varnold, providing personal and business insurance for auto, home, life, and health. Kyle, he works with multiple insurance companies, and what he does as an independent agent, he's able to get the best price and the best coverage. And that's unlike captive agents. You know what a captive agent is. That's someone who
They can only
works
sell
for
one company.
Well, exactly right. Well done. See,
So I let some of you guys talk.
yes.
Was that a trivia question?
No.
Okay.
Anyway, you can reach Kyle for some quotes today at 309-682-0519. And so here's the news with Terry Chamberlain.
Well, the sirens were wailing last night in Tel Aviv, Israel, as Iran launched multiple missiles against the Jewish nation. Iran's leadership has shown no sign of giving up, even though its military and oil refineries have been destroyed by unrelenting airstrikes. U.S. forces sunk 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels near the strategic Strait of Hormuz. Iran is seeking to block the movement of oil tankers. President Trump has warned more bombs and missiles are on the agenda for Iran until the government yells uncle, as in Uncle Sam.
You know, it almost sounds like shooting fish in a barrel. What's going over there?
Almost.
Yeah.
The news media is not helping the fight against Iran, state sponsors of terrorism. Reporters yesterday asked White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt how long the war was going to last. Those of us who are old enough to remember don't recall asking FDR how long World War II was going to last, or Harry Truman the same question regarding the Korean War. Their crystal balls just don't function.
Yeah, we have a different media today.
Gas prices are up due to the conflict with Iran. Governor Gavin Newsom blames Trump for the high prices, but failed to acknowledge California levies the highest state gas rate at 71 cents a gallon. Illinois is coming in a close second with 66.4 cents a gallon. New York Senator Chuck Schumer wants the president to dip into the oil reserve to help stabilize prices. However, when Trump sought to replenish the supply when prices were down, Schumer opposed the effort as another example of Schumer's short-term memory loss, said the White House. Speaking of gas going up, did you see the corner gas is up to $3.79?
Oh, really?
Went up 10 cents overnight.
$3.79.
Yep.
Mm-mm-mm.
In medical news, Mayo Clinic in Florida is conducting clinical trials using an innovative potential solution to treat people whose cancer has spread to their abdominal cavity. The Mayo doctors are using aerosol chemotherapy directly on cancer cells in the peritoneum, the membrane that lines the abdominal cavity and the organs within it. Officials say the procedure makes untreatable abdominal cancer treatable. In local news, a Peoria County grand jury has indicted 18-year-old Davier Dillard for attempted murder, robbery, possession of a stolen vehicle, and fleeing officers. Dillard was the driver of a stolen Jeep that terrorized people in parts of Peoria last month. He is accused of trying to run over a 14-year-old on the way to Peoria High School before he was stopped by police at Maine and University using spike strips. His partner in crime, 18-year-old Quinzel Foy, has been charged with robbery. 4 others in the vehicle, all minors, have not been charged. WEEK Television is in a contractual dispute with the Dish Network. Dish is threatening to drop Channel 25 and other gray media stations, owners of WEEK. The TV station is asking for viewers to call Dish to complain. It's all about money.
Yes, that's what it sounds like. They must, Dish must request a certain amount of money to carry WEEK. Is that, we need to get somebody from Dish or WEK.
I don't know.
They can dish it out, but they can't take it.
Yeah. Ooh, that was well done. Let's look at the weather. We had plenty of rough weather yesterday and last night. The worst up in Kankakee County, 7 to 9 people reportedly injured. We have some power outages in parts of central Illinois. And we, being the people in the Peoria area, under a tornado watch yesterday until about 11 o'clock last night. Showers and thunderstorms will continue today. Temperatures start falling this afternoon, reaching 39 by 1 this afternoon. So does that mean it's starting to fall now?
Yes,
I was old.
You get that? Because it's
yes,
50
I did not bring a
degrees.
heavy enough jacket
Yeah.
this
Bring a
morning.
jacket if you're on your way to work. Yep.
Cold and windy tonight with a low 29. Tomorrow, increasing cloudiness. A high of 50. Tomorrow night, cloudy and windy, 42. Looking at Friday, sunny and windy, 52. And Saturday, cloudy and 51. And as we indicated, currently our temperature at 50 degrees. There you have a check of the news and the weather. And it's a Wednesday, March 11th. And being Wednesday, it's time for our quiz. All right, we've opened the envelope, and here is the first question. What record album was the first ever to be taken directly from a film's musical track?
I'm going to guess Oklahoma.
Well, that would be a good guess, but incorrect.
Guys and dolls.
You would think that too.
Yeah.
I will help you out by indicating the movie was not a
Not a barn burner.
no, very popular,
it
but it was not a looked upon as a musical.
Okay.
Ben-Hur.
No.
I forgot the question already. Something about musicals. I just
What album came straight from the movie? Like from the
Okay,
soundtrack?
what
The album
year
came
for
from
the
the movie.
movie?
I have no idea,
Okay.
but it was many moons ago.
Many, many moons ago.
ago.
In the 50s, maybe?
Many sundials ago. Oh.
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 I know
You,
what you- Hi-ho.
yeah, that's hi ho.
Oh,
Hi
Snow
ho.
White?
Yes,
Snow White
and the
Oh.
Seven
And the
dwarfs.
Seven
and the
Dwarfs.
seven little
Yeah.
people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it did have.
You know, I
Okay,
wonder
so
why,
that's-
why didn't they call that movie Snow White and the Seven Midgets? I mean, dwarfs is
Seven
just
great.
as insulting.
Yeah.
7
Nice.
vertically challenged people.
You don't call a little fellow a dwarf anymore.
Not
Okay,
anymore, but back
so-
in 1939, you
Yeah.
could.
That was like 1950,
1939.
1939.
Yeah,
It
it
was.
was old.
It's the
It's
first
old.
one that
Around-
they. It's the first
It
one
was
they
the very
did.
first one he
Yeah.
did. Yep.
The first they did what? First what?
First animated full
Oh,
length.
full-length cartoon?
Yeah.
Who wrote the Yale University Bulldogs song? And he was a student at Yale when he wrote it.
Was he a politician later?
I believe, and here's a bit of trivia, in my small mind, I believe he was from Peru, Indiana. Well known.
The guy who wrote Music Man.
Oh,
His first name was the last name of one of the great singers of all time.
Huh.
These are great questions.
All right, let's see.
Frank.
His last name is the same of the occupation of someone who works on a passenger train.
Pullman.
Well, that's close, very close.
Philip.
What's another word?
Conductor. Engineer.
And you might, might be.
Porter.
Porter. Oh,
Porter?
Cole Porter.
Cole Porter's
Cole
right.
Porter, yeah.
Oh, ooh, very good.
Hey, that was very good.
Join
I
number.
love it.
Yeah.
What entertainer was known as Annie Mae Bullock before she adopted her stage name? Oh boy, this is a tough one. And is a black female singer, very popular.
Okay.
And her first and last name start with the same letter. Let's see.
Through all my
And the letter T,
so
first
T
and last name.
okay.
Oh, T Auntie.
Tina Turner.
Tina Turner is
Turner.
correct. Nice going.
Well done.
What hit song was banned on Canadian radio during Queen Elizabeth's visit in 1960?
Louie Louie.
That was
Wait, what?
What
Hold on.
hit song?
what? Yeah.
1960.
Oh,
Something by Elvis, I'm sure.
wait, read it again.
All right, I'll read it again. What hit song was banned on Canadian radio during the visit of Queen Elizabeth II
Oh, okay.
in 1960? And it had in the title was a southern city. I don't know why this
Canadian radio. Why would they?
Rainy Night in Georgia.
a city.
Oh, city.
Yes.
Something about Birmingham, Buckingham, southern U.S. city.
Memphis.
Really southern city
Louisiana.
in Louisiana.
New Orleans.
Yes.
Oh, the Battle of New Orleans.
The Battle of
Yeah,
New
I remember
Orleans.
that in 18.
Very,
We took a
well,
road trip along the mighty.
wonderful.
Mississippi.
When he was 6 years old, Chet Atkins used what type of wire to string his first musical instrument?
Fishing line.
Yeah,
And this is kind of not really. It's when they say what kind of wire, it came from a door. That might be more helpful than what kind of wire. So what kind
A
of
screen door?
is correct?
wire to screen.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
He took
That's
pieces of the
almost.
screen.
What was Chet Atkins' first musical instrument that he started playing?
I'm guessing it was not the guitar.
A banjo?
Well,
Ukulele
that's,
type thing.
Piano.
what was that?
Ukulele.
Ukulele is correct. Tyrus, nice
Yeah, you
going.
can
Well
make one
done.
of those.
What was the color of the streetcar Desire in Tennessee Williams' Pulitzer Prize winning play?
Red.
Incorrect.
Green.
Green is correct. Who was rumored to be the subject of Carly Simon's 1972 record, You're So Vain?
Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty is correct. We're on a roll, ladies and gentlemen. Irving Berlin wrote Smile and Show Your Dimple. Later on, Elton John did a takeoff on it and said Smile and Show Your Pimple. I made that up.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, Irving Berlin wrote Smile and Show Your Dimple, but reworked it and it later became what song?
Can't be White Christmas.
Well,
Yeah, White Christmas is what I was going to say.
let me, well, you're on the right,
Okay.
not the right season, but the song probably went something like this. Smile and show your dimple because I've seen your pimple.
Easter Parade?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Easter Parade. I didn't think. Thank you.
Wow.
Wasn't that featured in Holiday Inn or?
No, it had its own movie. Was
Oh, okay.
yeah.
To whom did super rocker Elton John pay tribute to in his, even I would get this
Oh, yeah, I think we already know the answer.
one, in his hit Candle in the Wind?
Princess Diana?
Marilyn
Incorrect.
Monroe.
Oh, that's right.
Marilyn
That's right.
Monroe
Then
is
he reworked
right.
it for
Yeah,
Princess Diana. Yes, you're right.
very good. Max Born, winner of the 1954 Nobel Prize in Physics, is the grandfather of what well-known pop singer? And the crowd grew quiet.
Do we have any hints?
Well, the singer had three names.
Three names.
Max Born, winner of 1954 Nobel Prize in Physics, is the grandfather of what well-known pop singer? And one of the names is the name of one of my favorite cookies.
Archway.
Oatmeal? Raisin?
We talked about Archway.
Well, that very good. You know, Terry, very good. You know, this one is not raisins, which is a real break. But I've loved this cookie for a long, long time. And it doesn't have raisins, but it has.
Fig Newton? Fig Newtons? Wayne Newton?
You're close.
Okay. So we know it's a Newton in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's three names?
Yes.
Newton. Paul. Oh,
You got it.
Paul Newton. Did you
No,
say that?
no.
What did I say? I forgot what I said. I know we got Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fig Newton.
Fig.
Paul Newton. Paul.
Paul Newton.
And one of the other names is a man's name,
Wayne.
as in Meisinger,
John Newton.
John Newton.
female singer.
Three names. With Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah,
Oh
very.
my goodness.
Oh, very good.
That was good. Took a
From
while.
Australia, too.
Oh man.
Took a while to get there.
Yeah, I
but
know.
you done good, kid. You done
Okay.
good. A singing duo of Caesar and Cleo eventually earned their fame under what other name?
Sonny and Cher.
Sonny and Cher is great. Boy, I'm glad they changed from Caesar and Cleo. Goodness gracious. What brand of apple was used as a symbol for the Beatles record label Apple Records?
Granny Smith.
Granny Smith is correct.
Remember,
And-
Price has a green apple on it.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. Name the two gangs in the movie West Side Story.
oh, of course. Sharks and
Sharks and
Jets.
Jets.
Sharks and Jets. How'd you guys know that? Very good.
Yeah.
I figured that's what.
Minnie Pearl always wore a hat with a price tag on it when she performed. What was the cost of the hat? Oh boy. Come up with this one, ladies and gentlemen.
$2.
And well, you're close.
Okay.
$1.50.
You're not so close.
And I was close to $2.25.
You're too high.
$2.15.
And somebody said earlier, and you were you missed it by 2 cents.
I did. Oh, $2.
Somebody did.
$1.98.
$1.98 is correct.
Okay.
Palisades Park was the hit song of what singer?
I know the song too.
Boom Boom Can.
I know the song, but I couldn't
Yeah,
tell
Boom
you the
Boom
artist.
Can. But what's his first name? Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry.
Yeah, I can't tell you the singer though. I know the song.
Was it Frankie Boom Boom Cannon?
And that's who it was. Exactly right.
I've never
You
You've
came.
never heard it?
Never heard of Frank. Oh, I heard the song, but I didn't know it was Frankie.
You
Boom
you
Boom Cannon.
you've heard the song,
Yeah.
have you not?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
picture it in my head.
Well-known song, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact. I believe.
Was he a
Do you,
one-hit wonder?
do you have it handy, Rogers, or any chance you have? Did he have some other big hit? What actress is thought to be the first woman to wear trousers on stage? Oh my goodness. If you get this one, we'll give you a ride on the Palisades Park
Katharine
roller
Hepburn.
coaster. No. Very early.
Very
We're in the 1800s now.
Fanny Bryce was in the 1900s.
I'll help you out. It was 1876. And a name I think that will ring a bell.
Oh,
I was gonna say I didn't. Say, I like your answer though.
Yeah.
Annie Oakley.
No. Did you
So
say,
this
did
is
you
no,
say a
no,
name?
no. This is
Okay.
an actress. A
I
stage
guess.
actress.
Mm-hmm. Says what actress is thought to be the first woman to wear pants?
In 1876.
He said trousers on stage.
Really?
Calamity Jane. I'm just.
Not a bad.
From
Not
the,
a bad.
From the 1870s.
Her first name starts with the letter S.
Wasn't there
And,
a
and,
Sarah,
and I think if you come up with the first name, I think you'll get the last name.
So there's Sarah, Sally.
It's a well, you're close on Sally. Trying to think who I know with that first name to help you out, but
Where would they have entertained? Had to be a stage.
yeah, like Broadway maybe. Was it? Oh, it probably doesn't.
well,
say.
throw out some women's first names with the letter S.
Sarah.
Okay, that's the first name.
That is?
I can't think what was her name. Sarah Bernhardt.
That is correct.
Oh.
I knew once you got Sarah, you would get the last name. What singer, songwriter owns the publishing rights to Stormy Weather, Hello Dolly, as well as the soundtrack to Grease, Mame, Annie, and Chorus Line, among others?
What, individual or what?
Yes. Well known. Very well known.
Still living?
I don't think so.
Michael Jackson?
No. His first name is one of the disciples. And it wasn't.
John?
And it wasn't Job.
Job.
That's right.
Oh, somebody knows.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs? No.
Okay, we're going to interrupt this because we have Kyle
Must be our
Varnold,
weatherman.
who's going to give us an update on the weather. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, Ross. How are we?
Well, we
soft
weathered
day.
the storm.
We weathered the storm. Yeah, how about that? And if you tuned in yesterday, I was pretty accurate.
Yes, you were. Very accurate, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact. You said the worst of the worst would be north, although we did have some power outages in certain southern areas, you might say, of Tazewell County.
Yeah, and those power outages were wind related, nothing to do with the actual storms, the supercells that we saw.
Oh,
take
really?
place
Okay,
just north
thank
of
you.
the skies. Actually, one of our agents at Fortner, his farm, the tornado went right up over his farm. He lives just northeast of Pontiac. And I'm going to track it later today. I wanted to do it last night, but we had a board meeting last night, believe it or not, for the school. But I'm curious if that's the same cell, the same vortex that touched down just south of Kankakee about 50 minutes later. So I'll be really interested to see as we track that down. But no, I mean, it's done. It's in the books, but March 10th is not your typical time of year. We're looking for tornadoes, but we certainly had that just not too far from our front door steps, just down the road a few counties over. And it has been quite an impressive system. About 11:45 yesterday, the SPC in Norman, Oklahoma had a conference call. And he said, hey, we're seeing really, really dynamic wind shear in the central and northeastern part of Illinois, just south of the warm frontal boundary. And they upgraded us for a level 2 hatched tornado risk, which, believe it or not, is the first level 2 hatched tornado risk SPC has issued this year in all the United States. So we knew conditions were very, very favorable. It's just where these cells are going to fire. These supercells, they soak up a lot of energy. They take a lot of energy. You can't get one after the other, after the other, after the other in close proximity until they start feeding off one another. So initially we had the first supercell show up just to the east of Secor, Illinois, which is between Eureka and El Paso. And then that later moved slowly northeast, and as it picked up in intensity, it did touch down a tornado just to the northern side of Pontiac, Illinois. And then we saw another tornado just to the southwest of Kewanee last night. And then we're checking out. We might have seen a tornado in the Lakin area last night, which, Tyrus, you alluded earlier, because I was listening to you guys in the shower, that you had a big, big gust of wind.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall what time that was?
Oh, shoot. I think maybe like 11-ish.
Oh, okay. No, that wasn't the same
Probably
cell.
like,
So,
yeah, like
no, okay.
11:30.
Because I was wondering if that storm that passed to the north of you, that was the outflow you experienced, that cold downdraft outflow, which was that gust of wind in the Princeville area. But
Yep.
the timing wouldn't match up, so that's not the case. But I appreciate you participating, Tyrus. Thank you for playing.
Yeah. Fair.
So, yeah, I was really hoping to put the two together there.
Was that part of
But
the
anyway.
trivia?
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a trivia question? Okay.
So
Yeah,
that-
Kyle, the temperatures are going to start falling when? Today.
Oh, it's already starting to fall, Roger.
It's okay.
Cold front. Yeah, the temperature's already dropped. We actually hit our high at 12:01 a.m. It's gonna be a cold, soggy, soft day, as they would call it in Ireland. Just icky, overcast, rainy. Just not a good day. Not a good. And then the wind's gonna pick up too on the backside of that frontal boundary. So, it's not a pretty day, but it's a far better day than 6-inch diameter hail, which was confirmed near
Right.
Peatone, Illinois yesterday.
We
I
got-
mean, thank God I don't have insurance up in Kankakee County. That's insane. That's a total loss right there for any vehicle.
I saw a picture of
Um,
a guy in a truck near Peatone too, and his
Well,
windshield was all shattered. And
Well,
Yeah.
they had hail in Tremont.
yeah, we got no hail.
Yeah.
You had hail in Tremont this morning, right? In the overnight hours?
Yeah, it would have been up between 12 and 1.
Well, it was
Yep.
last night
Yep.
because
Yeah. No, it
Kathy
was when
had
the
it
second wave
on
came through.
her cell phone.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was when the second wave came through because I actually, and I did get that one right, although it was a little bit later than what I thought originally.
Well, you were spot on, my friend, as you usually are.
Well, you're too kind. You're too kind. No, it's so funny because I was looking, we were talking about the Northern Solution yesterday morning, and the TV guys, I don't know if they saw it and they just didn't want to report it or what, but they stuck with the, Peoria Ground Zero narrative, and no, that wasn't the case. It was pretty much, I laughed at one point when I was like, oh my gosh, the area, because yesterday we talked about being between Illinois 17 and I-88 is the area I was really looking for, and by God, it was spot on, that bullseye.
Yeah.
So if I could pat myself on the back, I would. But yeah.
Well, we'll pat you on the back. We don't want you to break your arm.
Well,
You're very kind. You're very kind.
did like why would get hit? My cousin lives out there. Like I heard him keep saying Varna. Like, uh-oh, that's...
Yes. Yeah, they did. They did. We're sending out a team later today, but no,
Oh, boy.
that is that tornado that we are going to check out just north of Lakin. That would
okay.
be that same cell.
All right.
Yeah, it came across Stark County. It's the same cell, actually, from the Kewanee. It started there southwest of Kewanee, so they're going to check it out today to see what kind of damage we have. It could be a microburst, it could be a big downdraft, but indications, especially when you look at the radar signature, there's a very well-pronounced hook that came across that area, so chances are it was a tornado that hit Lake Wildwood, just there west of Varna last night. But we're going to find out here today, and then we'll have a report, and we'll talk about it on Friday, if not maybe tomorrow. But, yeah, the big thing is we certainly, as far as Peoria, dodged that bullet. SPC, all the parameters were in place that we were looking at a monumental meteorological day, and it was just a little bit north of here. We actually looked out, and everything was canceled, the city council meetings, and most our school open house was canceled, and lacrosse practice was canceled, and after-school activities, but better safe than sorry, because
No, you're
the
right.
atmosphere really, really was a powder keg last night, and just the charge went off to the north of us, and then we finally got the atmosphere resetting itself when the wave came through in the overnight hours right around midnight, 1 o'clock. And it's still a very, very impressive wave. If you were to pull up any radar, you can see it moving across the southern part of the state right now. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, that's for sure.
Well, thanks for bringing this up, and while you're here, maybe you can help out. We have 3 final questions on our Wednesday morning quiz. So do you have your thinking cap on?
For the most part, yeah, I have my weather
right.
cap on, so if it's
All right.
weather questions, I'm
Okay,
good.
here's the question. What singer-songwriter owns the publishing rights to Stormy Weather, Hello Dolly, as well as the soundtrack to Grease, Mame, Annie, and Chorus Line?
Michael Jackson. No, I don't know.
But I said that, and it was shot down.
What did you say?
Michael Jackson, and you
Right.
said no.
Mhm.
John Lennon?
Well, you're in the right neighborhood.
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney is correct.
Oh, very
Let's
good.
hear it for Dave Pohls.
Good job.
We have 2 more questions before we wrap it up. What rock group was the first to appear at New York's Carnegie Hall?
The first rock group to play Carnegie Hall?
Yes.
The Beatles.
Incorrect.
The Moody Blues?
No. See, we've had,
The Rolling Stones?
no.
Rock.
One of the favorites.
Chicago?
Yes, correct.
What?
Chicago.
All right.
Oh,
Chicago?
good for
I
you.
actually saw
Woo-hoo.
Chicago. I've seen Chicago live. Yeah.
And here's the final song, or the final question. What song holds the biggest leap to the #1 spot on Billboard's Hot 100 chart?
So the longest time on the Billboard
What
Hot
song?
100?
No. what song made the biggest leap from,
Oh,
in this
From
case,
low on the Billboard
being,
to number
being
one.
yes, it entered at number 37, and within a week, it was the number one song. And it was March 28th, 1964, if that helps.
I want to hold your hand.
You're in the right neighborhood.
see, I was thinking
Help.
Taylor Swift.
I need somebody.
What was that, sir?
Is
Dave?
it help? I need
No.
somebody, which is really what I'm asking for. It's really the question.
So it must be the Beatles.
Yes.
It's the Beatles. She Loves Me.
What was it?
What's the name of the song?
She loves
Yeah,
you-
yeah.
She loves me. Yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah. Okay.
I don't know if,
Hold your
is that a title
Well, I,
or is that a lyric?
The Beatles. Wow, I should know that.
Whatever you said, it's not the title.
okay, so it's not any of those.
By the Beatles. What do
By
you
the
think?
Beatles.
Yes. hmm I think Terry
Buy
asked
Me
it.
Love?
No,
You got it. Right.
Oh, gotcha.
okay.
Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah.
And
Thinking of, like, the
I'll tell you
number one
what,
CD I
the
have.
guy not only knows weather, he knows
He
music
knows his
as
music,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thought Kendra, I saw her answer too late, but she
Yeah.
got the Tina Turner one right.
Yes.
Yeah. She. Well, once Roger said to two, it starts with the same letter.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that got me too. Yep.
Well.
Yeah, and then she got John way before I did.
All right. Well, we're on the roller coaster at Palisades Park to wrap things up. Thank you, my friend. We'll check in with you at 8:50 and find out where we are weather-wise then. Kyle Varnold, Mr. Weather. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good
You
day.
bet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our number one. Okay, let's get into the news, everybody. .03 is our time, and we start with a check of the weather brought to you as a service of Morton Community Banks with over 50 branches across central and northwestern Illinois, offering a full range of personal and business banking services. Hometown banks, FDIC insured, so your deposits are safe. Look for the clock tower and you'll know they have time for you. Plenty of spooky weather, rough weather, yesterday and last night. We just heard from Kyle Varnold. But the worst was for the folks in Kankakee County, or the city of Kankakee, where 7 people injured. And, of course, we had some power outages in the central Illinois area, close to 1,000 people reportedly in primarily Tazewell County. We were under a tornado watch yesterday until about 11 o'clock. And when it comes to today, showers and thunderstorms, temperatures have already started falling and will continue by 1 o'clock to be around 39 degrees. We're pretty close to it right now. Cold and windy tonight with a low 29. Tomorrow, increasing clouds and a high of 50. Tomorrow night, cloudy and windy with a low 42. How about Friday? Sunny and windy. And we're talking about a high of 52. And Saturday, no sunshine, but plenty of clouds and a high of 51. And right now, our temperature is at 40 degrees. Actually, so, okay. Well, I'm sure some people might have 38 and some people might have 41.
Window.
All
I
right.
think it started out at
So
51 this morning.
yeah, we started out at 50.
Yeah.
So we're down to 41. What'd you say? 39? What? Both of you have 39? Okay. Is that on your wristwatch or your cell phone?
On my cell phone.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the hard news, brought to you by Matt Wall, CPA and tax specialist. He's with Gordon Stockman Wall, CPA, certified public accountant. And if you need help preparing your tax return, he's the go-to guy. You can reach Matt today at 309-692-4030. Terry has the lead story.
Iran's leadership has shown no signs of giving up, even though its military and oil refineries have been devastated by unrelenting airstrikes. U.S. forces destroyed 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels near the strategic Strait of Hormuz. Iran is seeking to block the movement of oil tankers, but without much success. President Trump has warned more bombs and missiles are on the agenda for Iran until the government yells uncle, as in Uncle Sam.
The news media isn't helping the fight against Iran's state sponsors of terrorism. Reporters yesterday asked White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt how long the war was going to last. Those of us who are old enough to remember don't recall asking FDR how long World War II was going to last, or Harry Truman the same question regarding the Korean War.
Gas prices are up due to the conflict with Iran. Governor Gavin Newsom blames Trump for the high prices, but failed to acknowledge California levies the highest state gas rate at 71 cents a gallon. Illinois runs a close second place with 66.4 cents a gallon. New York Senator Chuck Schumer wants the president to dip into the oil reserve to help stabilize prices. However, when Trump sought to replenish the supply when prices were down, Schumer opposed the effort. Another example of Schumer's short-term memory loss, said the White House.
There are a lot of polls conducted by news outlets, and most people take the results with a grain of salt or perhaps a sack of other material. Republicans gleefully like to talk about an NBC poll showing those surveyed have a higher opinion of ICE agents than what they think about the Democratic Party, Governor Gavin Newsom, and AOC. Trump was outpolled in popularity by Marco Rubio, and Pope Leo was rated the highest. Iran was last.
Yeah. Did any of you see the survey? It was by
I saw the Pope Leo, but
yeah.
that he was ranked highest.
It was by NBC,
Yep.
which is interesting. They had a whole list of people, and it is. But again, as we said earlier, these polls need to reveal how many people they actually surveyed and where they lived in the country, and give a little information as to whether or not the poll is really scientifically conducted.
This polls is very scientific.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Even family.
you know, when I was young,
Yeah.
I was really little one time. The radio said, "No, people are going to the polls tomorrow." And I talked to my mom and dad. Said, "We're having people over today." And I honestly said that. I heard that.
That is funny.
My mom and dad always say that was one of their funniest things. I said, "They were coming to our
Yeah,
house." I said,
yeah.
"Why not?"
I thought they were talking about Poland.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
In medical news, Mayo Clinic in Florida is conducting clinical trials using an innovative potential solution to treat people whose cancer has spread to their abdominal cavity. Mayo doctors are using aerosol chemotherapy directly on cancer cells in the peritoneum, the membrane that lines the abdominal cavity and the organs within it. Officials say the procedure makes untreatable abdominal cancer treatable.
You know, it's interesting to hear this story. Of course, Mayo Clinic, outstanding, not only a hospital that treats patients, but conducting research. And when I read this story, I could see the doctor spraying the guy with a can of aerosol.
Oh, wait a minute, is that the right can?
Yeah,
Why does that
yeah.
say right card?
Let's see, I just got this from Nina Hardware. Let's see if this will work.
Yeah. Oh,
Will somebody read
I guess
that?
I'm up
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
Up next.
In local news, a Peoria County
Thank
grand
you.
jury has indicted 18-year-old Davier Dillard for attempted murder, robbery, possession of a stolen vehicle, and fleeing officers. Dillard was the driver of a stolen Jeep that terrorized people in parts of Peoria last month. He's accused of trying to run over a 14-year-old on the way to Peoria High School before he was stopped by police at Maine University using spike strips. His partner in crime, 18-year-old Quinzel Foy, has been charged with robbery. 4 others in the vehicle, all minors, have not yet been charged.
Morton residents are sad after learning the once popular Great Harvest bread store will not reopen. The bakery restaurant has been closed since it was devastated by fire last November.
WEEK Television is in a contractual dispute with the Dish Network. Dish is threatening to drop Channel 25 and other gray media stations, owners of WEEK. The TV station is asking for viewers to call Dish to complain, and it is all about money. And those are our headline news items.
Do you know anyone who had Dish Network or had a dish or has one for that matter now? Well, my father owned a number of apartment buildings at one time. When he passed away, I kind of took over management of them, and our biggest headache was at an apartment building, somebody would order it, and the company never came and said, where can we put the, later on I wanted to tell them where they could put it, but they would not agree with me. But when the tenant moves out, the company does not come and get the
Just
dish.
stays,
Oh, no,
yeah.
they just
Yeah.
stay there.
It's
son bought a house.
not our problem, pal.
Yeah.
And so as a result, we had a number of dishes on the back of the apartment building that we had to cut around and so forth, and get them to come and get it was like asking for $1 million, I would think. Any rate, good luck with Nish and WEEK. Now let's get more news from WCBU.
From the WCBU newsroom, I'm Ryan Denham. Opponents of a data center proposed to be built in Pekin cheered at a city council meeting when Mayor Mary Burris announced the city is no longer interested in the project. Pekin resident Mark Stevens is one of the opponents who is happy that project is no longer under consideration.
There's a difference, one, between hearing versus listening. And I thank the mayor, I thank the city council, I thank the staff of listening rather than just not paying lip service.
The council is expected to vote in 2 weeks to legally end its connection with the data center developer. A town hall and a data center, planned for the next night at Pekin Community High School, that was expected to draw hundreds, has now been canceled. The recent mortality and morbidity report by the Illinois Department of Public Health reveals that people experiencing homelessness have a much higher rate of hospitalization and premature death. That report found that 3,000 people experiencing homelessness died from 2017 to 2023. Capital News Illinois reports experts say Illinois must push to be proactive, not reactive, to the needs of homeless communities. Governor J.B. Pritzker has proposed funding for Home Illinois be reduced by $7.6 million. The University of Illinois Extension is looking for volunteers to help plant 25 new oak trees in Woodford County. Those trees, planned for the Parklands Bluffs, will help combat carbon neutrality and nutrient runoff in the area. Both are issues affecting air and water quality and climate change and the environment. 40 other counties will join Woodford in the 4-H Green Communities Trees program to plant over 1,000 new trees statewide. Illinois and Cook County have erased more than $2 billion in medical debt for over 1 million residents. That is through a partnership with a nonprofit that buys medical debt for pennies on the dollar. Patients are getting an average of about $1,200 in relief since that program was started in 2022. Residents across Illinois say the relief has lifted long-standing financial burdens that had been sent to collections and in some cases affected their credit ratings. Lawmakers are divided on funding for that state program, with supporters pushing to expand it and critics raising concerns about spending. You can find more news at wcbu.org. I'm Ryan Denham.
All right, boys and girls, let's get into the world of sports. Tyrus Kileon is here. Tyrus, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Roger. We'll start with some Bradley basketball. Their season might be over after losing in the Missouri Valley tournament to UNI, 73-69. It's a pretty tough loss there. They were number 2 ranked, too. Bradley was. Bradley girls basketball starts their tournament Friday at 2:30 p.m. versus Northern Iowa in Iowa. Other news, Illinois basketball will play this Friday at 1:30 in the Big Ten tournament. They don't know who they're playing yet, so it might come out today or later. So we'll see what happens there. Illinois girls basketball, they lost recently in the Big Ten tournament, 64-58 to number 9 Iowa. A lot of Iowa over here. NFL news, deals become official today at 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is 3 o'clock probably for us. Speaking of deals, the Ravens and the Raiders deal for superstar edge rusher Max Crosby fell through because the Ravens backed out. It's a pretty questionable thing here, and they're saying due to medical concerns, but it might just be because cold feet and just backed out of the deal because they can still, because nothing's official till today. The steal the Raiders would have got from the Ravens was 2 first-rounders, 1 this year and 1 next year, too. So they decided not to do that anymore. The Bears have made a series of moves, too. They signed safety Kobe Bryant from the Seahawks. Kind of a little big part of their good defense that they had this year. Devin Bush, he was actually one of the best linebackers last season for the Browns. He was top 5 according to PFF.
Yeah.
So I don't know who likes PFF, but I think that's usually what everybody uses to see how good somebody did. But Neville Gallimore is a defensive lineman. They signed him. Khalif Raymond, little wide receiver, kick returner, punt returner for the Lions last year. He's now with the Bears. Cam Lewis, defensive back, and defensive lineman Contavious Street. And they have re-signed offensive tackle Braxton Jones. Daniel Hardy is good on special teams and can fill in for you. DeMarco Jackson was pretty good filling in for them last year, so he got a 2-year deal. And then Case Keenum is back up the Bears. MLB news and spring training. The Cubs lost to the Rangers 8-3. They play today at 3:05 p.m. versus the Royals. The Cardinals lost to the Mets 6-1 yesterday. They play at 12:05 p.m. today versus the Nationals. Cardinals also sent down rising star Joshua Baez. Who really made his case to make the team this year, but he'll be playing in AAA, and they'll see how his AAA.
You'll see him in Memphis.
Yeah. We'll see how his AAA season goes. I think they're just giving him a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And they'll see what all these other guys do this year. And he'll probably be up at some point this year if he's doing well down there.
Yeah.
The White Sox lost 11-7 versus the Athletics. They play today at 3:05 p.m. versus the Angels. Phillies lost yesterday to the Yankees 4-2. They play the Blue Jays today at 12:05 p.m. Also, the World Baseball Classic Team USA will face elimination with an 8-6 loss to Italy. They will wait to see what happens later tonight at 7 p.m. when Italy plays Mexico. So if Mexico wins, USA has a good chance to stay in. If Italy wins, then USA is done. So everybody expecting them to be in the championship might not happen. Might not get that Japan versus USA again.
Yeah, that would be
But
a good matchup.
we'll see. NHL news: the Blackhawks are 24-29. They're coming off a win versus the Utah Mammoth, 3-2 in overtime. Frank Nazar with the game winner. Connor Bedard, 2 assists. Rookie Drew Comesso had 22 saves out of 24 attempts. They move on to play the Mammoth again tomorrow at 8 p.m. versus, in Utah, the old Salt Lake City. The St. Louis Blues, who are 25-29, they lost last night to the Islanders 4-3 in overtime. They play tomorrow an away game versus the Hurricanes at 6 p.m. In the NBA, the Chicago Bulls, 27-38, coming off a gritty overtime win versus the Warriors, 130-124. Modest Buzel's had a career high, 41 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks. And Josh Giddey had another triple-double for the Bulls, his 17th as a Bull. And he had 21 points, 13 rebounds, 17 assists. Leonard Miller, 17 points, 11 rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal. Trey Jones, 22 points, 5 assists. Off the bench, Jalen Smith had clutch free throws to send it to overtime. Also 12 and 12 from him. But so who do you think Josh Giddey passed recently? So he's second all time now in triple doubles.
We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Will Chamberlain, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so for Bulls history,
Oh,
triple doubles,
Probably Michael Jordan.
he's first.
Mm-hmm.
So who he just recently passed would be one of the other all-time greats
Pippen?
for the Bulls. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen. He
Yep.
passed him recently, and he's still kind of well behind Michael
Yeah.
in that category.
Yes,
But
everybody is.
yeah, he'll get there though, probably if he spends more time here on the Bulls. The next game is away as they play the Lakers at 9:30 p.m. tomorrow. Also in the NBA, the Miami Heat beat the Washington Wizards 150-129, but that's not the story. The story is forward center Bam Adebayo scoring the second most points in an NBA game with 83 points. Probably could have gotten to 100 points or more, but he shot 20 for 43. 7 of 22 from 3, 36 of 43 from the free throw line, along with 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. What a crazy game there.
Yeah.
But who did he pass up
There we go.
for second? And
Roger, you got this one too.
yeah,
Wilt Chamberlain, right?
yeah,
We-
he's sitting behind him.
Yeah.
So Wilt had 100.
Yeah.
And he passed one of the greats. He's a guard.
Oh.
Just
Maybe,
recently passed, I would say. A couple years ago.
I'm thinking
Don't know.
Rose. I'm thinking
I don't know.
No.
Starts with a K.
Kobe Bryant.
There you go.
Yeah, of
Kobe.
course, yeah.
Just passed up Kobe for that. So Kobe's third now. And that's our sports.
All right, hour number 2 of Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU, FM 90.7 in wonderful Peoria, Illinois. How many of you stayed up and watched the meteorologists on TV last night? How late? How late did you stay up, Terry? Until
A little after 1. I was
a
already.
little after
I was
1,
going to turn
yeah.
off the TV, and then at around midnight, they oh, wait a minute. Okay, now we got this coming up. And about that time, I saw some lightning and thunder. And oh, crap. I'd hate to be asleep and have something.
Yeah.
So I stayed up.
You know, it's hard to go to bed after you hear a report that most people who die from tornadoes and storms die at night.
I mean, I
While
was
you're
asleep- I was
sleeping.
asleep by 9:30. I did
Really?
rain.
You
We
said,
watched,
hey.
watched a little TV last night, and the show was over. That was it.
Yeah.
No, I was watching. I watched two shows on ABC on Tuesday nights,
Yeah.
and so they cut into it, and like, well, that kills the evening, and sure enough,
And it did.
We
it
watched
did.
We watched
Yeah.
the streaming. You know, it was on a. We saw a show called Ponies, Person of No Interest. It was kind of good. Have you seen it? And it's on a streaming platform, so
Oh,
you
see,
wouldn't
I
know
don't-
what the
I don't
weather's
do that.
like.
No, I
Yeah.
just-
Mhm.
I have
And
only antenna.
yeah, just crashed out. And woke up this morning. It was cold.
Yeah. How about you, Tyrus?
I saw a good amount of people just pulled over last night on the side of the road, just storm watching. So voluntarily being out there.
The
Oh,
public ham
really?
radio operators are
Yeah.
known for being
Well, some
storm
of them. I
watchers.
mean, there was that. There was one of the vans, but there was just like random kids just like chilling outside,
Yeah.
looking at the storm. I'm like, what are we doing? If this like actually happened, like, what are y'all gonna do? You know? Like,
Well, I know what you did. You counted the number of blocks, steals, and shots
That's right. Yes.
of everybody in the NBA.
yeah, right. I know.
You know,
I mean-
it's hard to go to sleep when you look. And I felt sorry for the weather people. As we said earlier, with those kinds of storms, they usually have 2 and sometimes 3 people reporting. What do you have over there on your map? What do you have over? And the poor guy on 31, Chris Yates, is that his name? He was there. And then the guy on 25, I don't know his name, he had his laptop there. And I got a big kick out of Chris Yates. He must have had 3 to 5 monitors he was looking at, because he would look to the right, and then his eyes would go to the left,
Yeah.
then they would go up, then they would go down, then they would go up even higher. And I thought, what is he looking at that we don't get a chance to look at
My
it.
forecast was it's dark outside.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's not. I
It's a
mean,
dark and stormy
I'll tell
night.
you what. I was
Yeah.
not, like you said, I was not watching
Yeah.
the weather stuff. I was watching the NBA.
I
Speaking of
never,
sports.
I never would have guessed that.
Close
I
out your
mean,
sports. So what comes up?
See, the Bulls game was actually exciting, and they actually played good.
Well,
for-
you know, when
so-
you say that, I think it's because you live in Princeville,
Right.
and there's not a lot of things. No,
No,
I'm
there's
kidding.
not a lot going on over there.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
probably why
but-
there's a bunch of people out
Yeah.
there storm
How
watching,
can
I
you get
guess.
excited? And I'm a Bulls fan, but how can you get excited about a team that's, when you watch it, they're
Yeah.
going to lose? I mean, the odds are they're going to.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
they also kind of need to, but no, it's just like you want to see like progression from the young players that are on the team. So,
Okay, all right. Yeah.
like,
Mm.
Miles Buzelis is 21 years old.
Where is he from? What college did he play at?
He did not.
Play college
He
at
did
all?
not. No, he did.
What was he playing down in Morton Square?
No, he's actually from Chicago, but he's also Lithuanian, and he did the G League at night, and then went into the NBA. So
Mhm.
he just skipped the college, but and then like
That's unusual. I don't
Yeah.
know
That G
too
League
many
changed-
players that
changed the whole.
Man,
Yeah.
let's
and
see.
you can-
Sean Livingston, he didn't go to college, so
yeah,
No,
well,
he
he
went-
was ready to go to.
Yeah.
yeah, he went straight to the
He-
draft.
Yeah, for that
yeah.
2-month period, he was
Yeah.
going to go to Duke.
Kobe.
and
he was going to go where?
He was going to go to Duke.
That's
and,
right.
and,
Didn't Coach K come to
He
Peoria?
did. I actually.
Talk to him.
Yeah.
I was at Peoria High at the time teaching when he came in the building.
Did
it was
he came? He came
Well, I met
into
him
the
too.
Peoria High.
Yeah.
Isn't that almost a violation?
No, it was off season. It was yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you could do it, but I mean, what a great opportunity for him. How do you?
Oh,
turn
I'll
it
say.
down?
Oh
got
my
to-
goodness, yeah.
When I was younger, I met him too. And
Did you?
he
Who,
took,
Coach K?
No, I was talking about Livingston. When
Oh,
we were
yeah.
talking about
Sean
Livingston.
yeah.
Great. He's
Um,
done a lot for the community too. He really is giving back.
yeah.
Give it back
Well,
quite
he
a
took
bit.
a took a picture with the whole
Oh, yeah?
family, and he just stood in the
neat.
middle,
Yeah.
and his arms went around everybody.
Hmm.
So, but no, I see Coach K just about every day. My
Yeah, I
my
was gonna
dad.
say, I was
so,
I was with you on that one. Hey, what's
But,
what's coming up this Sunday? That's big news in the world of sports. 5:00 this Sunday is what?
oh,
Is that the
Selection
draft?
Sunday. Selection
what-
Sunday.
Oh,
NCAA,
yeah.
Yeah.
Get your
for the yep
get your brackets ready.
For the NCAA.
Yep. Tournament
We'll
starts.
find
That's-
for the tourney.
We'll
with,
find out that the Missouri Valley
So,
will have only one team.
Yep.
And it'll be the University of
Already
Northern
know that's
Iowa.
what it is, yep.
And Belmont will be stuck, and it's not all bad going to the NIT.
Yep.
Bradley will not get an invite.
No.
yeah.
But let's be positive.
Yeah.
Bradley will get an invite.
You know what played really hard? I went Sunday to the Bradley women's basketball game.
You did.
And,
Good for you.
That was, I'll tell you what, that was a good game. We played Illinois State, lost by what? Talk about a heartbreak loss. They
Yeah,
played
on a
their hearts out.
7/10 of a
1
second.
point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
that
just shows you how bad
What do you do? But I'll
the
tell you what,
officiating is.
kudos to Bradley. Man, they played hard.
Yeah.
They really
Mm-hmm.
did. Those,
Coach Popovich is doing a good
she
job.
really is.
So yeah,
Their
and,
whole staff was dialed in. I mean, it
The
was
whole
really
staff.
a good.
Yeah, and Coach.
Oh, yeah.
And we're dialed into the news because we're going to talk to Kevin Sullivan
Oh yes.
coming up, so stay tuned for that. This is the time of the year some homeowners learn they have a leaking roof. And boy, if you have one, if you have something wrong with your roof, you found out real quick last night and yesterday. That means it's time to call Heinz Roofing, the experts. Heinz Roofing has been repairing and or replacing roofs in Central Illinois for over, count 'em, 33 years. For a no-obligation inspection of your roof, call Doug Hines. He's a veteran at 309-672-0910. That's Hines Roofing, quality work by quality people. Here's Terry.
Well, the sirens were wailing last night in Tel Aviv, Israel, and they weren't the tornado sirens that our area had, as Iran launched multiple missiles against the Jewish nation. Iran's leadership has shown no sign of giving up even though its military and oil refineries have been destroyed by unrelenting airstrikes. U.S. forces sunk 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels near the strategic Strait of Hormuz. Iran is seeking to block the movement of oil tankers. President Trump has warned more bombs and missiles are on the agenda for Iran until the government yells uncle, as in Uncle Sam. The news media isn't helping the fight against Iran, state sponsors of terrorism. Reporters yesterday asked White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt how long the war was going to last. Those of us, and there's only one in this studio, who remembers.
Who's that, Tyrus?
No.
Oh, okay.
They didn't ask FDR how long World War II was going to last, or Harry Truman about how long the Korean War was going to last. That's a foolish question.
Yeah.
Gas prices are up due to the conflict with Iran. Governor Gavin Newsom blames Trump for the high prices, but failed to acknowledge California levies the highest state gas rate at 71 cents a gallon. Illinois is running close second with 66.4 cents a gallon. New York Senator Chuck Schumer wants the president to dip into the oil reserve to help stabilize prices. However, when Trump sought to replenish the supply when prices were down, Schumer opposed the effort. Just another example of Schumer's short-term memory loss, said the White House. In medical news, Mayo Clinic in Florida is conducting clinical trials using an innovative potential solution to treat people whose cancer has spread to their abdominal cavity. Mayo doctors are using aerosol chemotherapy directly on cancer cells in the peritoneum, the membrane that lines the abdominal cavity and the organs within it. Officials say the procedure makes untreatable abdominal cancer treatable. In local news, a Prairie County grand jury has indicted 18-year-old Davier Dillard for attempted murder, robbery, possession of a stolen vehicle, and fleeing officers. Dillard was the driver of a stolen Jeep that terrorized people in parts of Peoria last month. He is accused of trying to run over a 14-year-old on the way to Peoria High School before he was stopped by police at Maine and University using spike strips. His partner in crime, 18-year-old Quinzel Foy, has been charged with robbery. 4 others in the vehicle, all minors, have not been charged. WEEK Television is in a contractual dispute with the Dish Network. Dish is threatening to drop Channel 25 and other gray media stations, owners of WEEK. The TV station is asking for viewers to call Dish to complain. It's all about money. And those are the headlines, Roger.
All right, now, quick check of the weather because we have Kevin Sullivan on the telephone line. And the weather this morning brought to you by Bob Manning for investment questions and information. Think about the name, Robert Manning. He is with the Grandview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley. He's a senior vice president, has been in the investment advisory field now for more than 27 years. And you can reach him at 309-671-4653. Morgan Stanley, Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. A lot of nasty weather yesterday and last night. We were under a tornado watch yesterday until about, and last night, around 11 p.m., but many of us were up and about even later than that. How about today? Well, more showers and thunder boomers. Temperatures have begun falling. We started the morning program at 50 degrees, and we're now down to 39, if you can believe that. Any rate, cold and windy tonight with a low 29. Tomorrow, cloudy and 50. And as we say right now, 39 degrees. It is 7:34. Kevin Sullivan on the line. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Roger.
All right. Did we put you to sleep?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it.
I was on. I had it muted because I had a little coughing going, and I didn't want to interrupt you.
Well, I appreciate that, but I've been coughing all morning, so it's this nasty Midwestern weather. I don't know what's on your legal mind this morning, but I will ask a beginning question here, and that is, I know sometimes that a state's attorney, whether it's Peoria County or Tazewell County or Whoopie-Doo County, will file a whole host of charges. Is it because they think they are guilty of all that, or it's part of the bargaining chip to get the person perhaps to cop a plea agreement?
Well, I think I can answer that two ways without having to commit one way or the other. But and I can give you some experiences I've had. You know, in a case like this, the one you've been referring to with that infamous car chase throughout the city of Peoria,
That is correct.
a couple weeks ago, you know, I'm thinking the state's attorney. Now, we don't know exactly what they know at this point. We don't know what's in the police report, the videos, the investigative, any witness statements, things like that. But from what I heard from various people who I've talked to, there were people who had to ditch their cars because this guy was driving in such a way that if they didn't, they were going to get clobbered and in a really probably a motor vehicle accident with injuries. So people, you know, people ditch their cars in people's in like a culvert or in a people's front yards, what have you. But I think in this situation, they're going to be the state's attorney is going to be very careful or circumspect to file charges that they can support. And you know, obviously, the driver has a charge of attempted murder, and under that statute, first of all, it can be a difficult charge to prove because it requires what is called specific intent. That person who's accused had to specifically intend to kill or cause injuries that could result or likely to result in the death of another person. And, you know, a lot of times defense attorneys will, you know, that's their defense. Well, this was an unfortunate situation, but it wasn't premeditated. It wasn't intended. It wasn't, you know, they didn't realize the scope or the calamity of their actions. In this situation, you know, it sounds to me, and I'm based upon what I've read just in the media, that they're on pretty solid footing here because this person had, you know, he tried to run down a kid near Peoria High. You know, a car's a deadly weapon every day of the week, you know. However, you know, they're not going to take the cars off the road because they're deadly weapons. They expect people to control them, much like they would expect people who may be carrying a weapon to use it very judiciously. So the charges there, I think, are probably pretty right. Now, I have seen prosecutors, and I can tell you about a murder case I had years ago in Marshall County. And what essentially happened was these kids were on at another young man, the kid who died, they were at his home, and they were on his wood deck out in the back, and they were doing like the WWF wrestling moves, where they were doing a fireman's carry, or they were, you know, an elbow drop, or they were horsing around. And one of the kids got slammed on his back right at the very moment that was the peak of his heartbeat. And it's less than a nanosecond, but if you get an impact right at that point in time, that can cause your heart to stop and go into arrest. And that's what ultimately happened. And the prosecutor in Marshall County at the time, not the present one, this was several prosecutors ago, charged this as involuntary manslaughter. And when I got in the case, he said to me, well, your client ought to take this and serve 5 years in prison. And I'm saying, I don't think so. We're not, you know, this was an accident. This wasn't negligence. This wasn't recklessness. This was simply an accident with kids horsing around. Could have very easily happened on a baseball diamond if somebody, you know, took a shot with a baseball to the chest or on the back at that very moment. He goes, well, if you don't take this, if your client doesn't take it, I'm going to indict him for first-degree murder. And I said, okay. So I talked to my client. We did a little pro and con on, you know, do you want to take this? Do you want to risk this? Do you want to do this? And my client came to the conclusion, and I advised him, you know, don't take either one. This is purely an accident. And the prosecutor then had the grand jury in Marshall County indict him. And I've never seen a grand jury proceeding. I wasn't there, but I read the transcript, where a prosecutor basically overrode the grand jury and said, you have to do this. If I bring the case, you have to. Now, clearly that would be grounds to have a case dismissed. But instead, we were pretty confident in our case. I said, we're not going to mess with that. Let's go to trial. So we went to trial. Interesting enough, when you go to a jury trial, each side, prosecution and defense, has certain things called peremptory jury challenges. So, for example, if let's say one of the prospective jurors comes into the box, and let's say he's a retired commandant of the Illinois State Police, and he's very law and order, and looks like he'd be pro-prosecution. I can bounce him or excuse him from the jury pool, or from the jury, actually, from the panel, just because I think he's got an inherent bias, so to speak. And so a lot of people in Marshall County, being a smaller county, knew of the case, knew certain people, knew witnesses, and I was moving to excuse them, although I'd asked to excuse them for a cause, where the court does that, and the court kept denying me. So I ran out of peremptory challenges, and now the next guy that comes up, lo and behold, an active Illinois State Police trooper from District 8 at the time, and I'm thinking, God, I hope he says something stupid. I don't want him on my jury. And he didn't, and I had to put him on the jury. He was the 12th person picked for the jury, and I'm thinking, oh, boy, we gambled and lost on this one. But we went to trial. Jury deliberated, came back with not guilty across the board, and it was the right call. But that was an example of a prosecutor trying to elevate the charges to get a plea to the lesser charges. And, you know, he didn't give us a real option, or at least a charge that was available to plead to. And you know, I will tell you, I think at the time, I'm going back 15, 20 years, I think at the time, the people of Marshall County were very elated with that decision, because as I'm preparing paperwork showing that it was a not guilty, and you have to put the time down, what time the jury came back, et cetera, I'm doing that. And the prosecutor left the room. He went down to his office. I looked out the courtroom window, and there was 2 pickup trucks from the sheriff's department, and all the sheriff's deputies on duty were helping the kid unpack his cell and so he can go home. You know, it was kind of a neat experience to watch that, and they were very glad the decision was made. They told me later it was the right call.
Yeah, and that had to make you feel good.
Yes.
Primarily because you knew you were on the right side of the right side, so to speak. It is interesting to see, as a, you might say, parenthetical part of this bizarre chase through Peoria. Apparently, what I have, and I may not have the right information, none of the minors in the vehicle have been charged. Do you know that for a fact?
I believe that to be the case, and what I'm guessing is that the evidence that the police have at this point, the state's attorneys reviewed, may indicate that they were somewhat unwilling participants. In other words, perhaps this 18-year-old picked him up with the idea of, we're going to go, I'm picking you up, we're going to school, or we're going here, we're going there, and he kind of took a detour, so to speak, and started acting bad, and these kids may have been upset, traumatized, maybe trying to figure out, how do we get out of this vehicle?
Right,
and they may not have had a chance to get out of the vehicle. They weren't likely going to jump out of the vehicle. There probably wasn't a time or a place to do that without really endangering their own well-being. So I'm guessing that may be what it shows. Again, I've not seen the evidence, but I'm guessing the driver, no matter whether it's a simple situation or a complex situation, the driver is always deemed to be captain of the ship when it comes to an automobile. Give you an example. Somebody borrows my car and they're driving to work one morning, and there's a taillight that's out. That person who's driving the car, if he gets stopped for that taillight on my car, gets the ticket. Reason being, should have checked that out before he started driving. I see that a lot where people are using somebody else's cars and they're not insured. That driver, not the owner, gets the ticket for no insurance. And he's really the captain of the ship. So the greatest degree of culpability certainly will be for the driver. And I noticed that the other 18-year-old was charged with robbery. Now that's defined as taking something from somebody else. It's different than burglary. Robbery's from the person. So he obviously stole something from somebody during the course of that event, and I don't know exactly what that was. We'll later learn, I'm sure. But this case will probably be, I'm guessing, there'll be some sort of a plea agreement, or a plea at least that'll be reached in this situation. but I anticipate that this driver will spend some time in the Department of Corrections.
Kevin, we know, and you know better than I do, and many people are listening for that matter, that you do have your ear to the ground. You know what's going on in the city of Peoria, if not the county of Peoria for that matter, that we do have gangs in Peoria. And there's been no mention as to whether or not these two that have been indicted and the 4 youngsters are part of a gang. Do you know if that's true or not? Or was this just one of those bizarre, random incidents?
You know, I have not heard about any gang affiliation with this group of people, and some things tell me it may not be. I mean, maybe there is. You know, maybe the driver or the other 18-year-old is a member of a gang, but this doesn't sound to me as though it was gang activity, because when I see gang activity that goes down in the city of Peoria, usually it's after dark at night, sometimes late at night. There's usually there's several members of a gang that work in unison to do whatever they're out to accomplish. And, you know, in this situation, this started at the break of day when the school time was, you know, commencing, and it didn't seem to have much organization. There was really no particular target because they were, you know, essentially indiscriminately just affecting everybody on the roadway. To me, this is just, you know, somebody who went rogue and was having a, you know, a frolic and a detour, as we sometimes called it in law school when we in the case law. You know, that was just out to make disturb people and, you know, maybe make a name for himself and joyride, and which turned out to be more than certainly a joyride. But I'm not aware of that, and I think you would have seen probably more. I think more organized activity with a more particular target. And I think if this was gang-related, there would be at least charges against the juveniles. And it's my understanding there are no adult charges or delinquency charges that are going to be filed against those people under 18. So tells me probably not, but it could be tangential, so to speak, to a gang, or, you know, maybe it could be that this was some sort of an initiation to get into a gang. Obviously, the person failed the initiation because he won't be seeing the gang members for quite a while.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. You know, a week or so after this incident took place, there were calls by some people in the community for a review of the judicial juvenile courts. Has that taken place, or has that been a one-time only shot and it's business as usual? Because there's been a lot of criticism about how some of these kids that get arrested have been arrested multiple times.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, sometimes the wheels of justice grind very slowly. And I think that there is a movement right now to have the entire Juvenile Court Act revisited and revised. The Juvenile Court Act that presently exists was enacted back in the mid-1980s. I want to say 87, 88, maybe just before that. And times are a lot different now than they were back then. And I know that the abundance of state's attorneys, we have 102 of them in the state of Illinois, elected state's attorneys are pushing for that. And the Supreme Court has once again convened a commission to have that looked at as well. So, you know, there's two things right now that are basically that are on the brink, I think, of being revisited and revised. One is the Juvenile Court Act, and number two is the Safety Act. And you know, when I was first practicing law, and this is I'm going back to the 80s, you know, the Juvenile Court Act, there was basically one judge in juvenile court, and they dealt with two aspects of juvenile justice. One was kids that were alleged to be delinquent kids for doing something stupid, vandalism, criminal damage to property, shoplifting, you know, and stuff that you would consider to be rather sophomoric. The other aspect of juvenile court is where kids are neglected or abused, and the parents either are put into some sort of a safety program that they have to follow in conjunction with oversight from the Department of Children and Family Services, or sometimes the children are removed from the parents temporarily or permanently and put into foster care. And there was one court that did that, and back then I don't think that court was terribly overwhelmed. Now we have separate courts. We have a dedicated delinquency court. We have a dedicated abuse and neglect court, and they're very, very busy, and it's unfortunate because of that. And I remember as a kid, this name may ring a bell, there was on the third floor of the older part of the courthouse, there was a juvenile courtroom, and the judge assigned to that was a guy by the name of John Holtzman.
I remember him.
Okay. John was a big guy with a big square head, flat top, ex-FBI, an attorney. And if you looked at John and didn't know him, he looked meaner than the junkyard dog. I mean, he really
That's
he
me.
was a big guy, and actually he was a teddy bear. He was one of the nicest guys. He was very religious. He was supportive of his community. He lived in Washington, Illinois. His wife's name was Betty. They were great people. But when John would lower the boom on some juvenile, let's say in court for a delinquency, if John got mad enough, he'd stand up on the bench, and of course he's, the bench where a judge sits is a couple feet higher than the floor of the courtroom, so he's got a couple foot advantage, and he leans over that bench looking at some kid. He's going to cause that kid to go pale, and he did. And you didn't have a lot of recidivism. You didn't have a lot of repeat offenders back then. But nowadays, the problem is you don't have an integrated family where in the courtrooms when you see this, where you see these kind of cases. Typically, you've got a parent that's absent. A lot of times, you've got a relative, a grandparent or two that are raising, these young kids. You can't control these kids. These kids have no respect for authority, whether it's inside or outside of the home. You try to you try to tell a kid, no, you're not going out tonight. You're going to study you're going to do your homework. Yeah, well, screw you. I'm going out, Grandma. And I've seen cases where the kids have beat up their parental figures, and they're doing what they want. And I think, I'm not trying to say it's the father's fault in all cases, but in a majority of the cases, it's an absent father who's the one typically that can impose discipline to knock that sort of situation down. And what the cause of the ultimate root cause of that is, I don't have the answer. And again, you see a single parent trying to raise a kid or kids. It may be the mother that's working, 2-3 jobs, and she's going from job to job, and the kids are essentially on their own. Otherwise, she can't keep a roof over their head. So, it's a society situation, and how that's going to be fixed is for people that make more money than I do. But it's kind of just a sign of the times, and I wish we had, in all honesty, I wish we had more types of after-school programs for kids. I'm not saying you go after school to be punished like it's a detention, but programs like music or arts or maybe an introduction to whatever, where they can go after school. It's like the Boys and Girls Club over on the East Bluff. They do an awful lot of good, but that's only one facility. You need a place. I think Carver Center did that for a long time. There's a number of places that wish that they would do that, and it would occupy the kids. It would give them something to look forward to. It would give them some additional companionship among their peers, and maybe learn something additional that would be useful, in later in life. I mean, I remember hearing about kids when I was growing up. They were taking some sort of shop classes after school, learning how to fix a lawnmower or maybe a small engine. And kids excelled with that, and they liked it. And again, I don't know how that's going to be solved, if that's something that the community puts together or the government puts together. But I think that's what they need to keep these kids, focused and off the street. And if they're doing that after school, let's say, and not running the streets, well, then they go home, and guess what? They're going to help lay up dinner at 6 o'clock, and maybe get into their books so they're ready for school the next day.
Yeah, that would be wonderful if that would take place. But the schools and the community need to get together and talk about alternatives to what the kids currently have. As usual, Kevin Sullivan, thanks so much for the good information. I appreciate it, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, thanks everybody. Have a good week.
Have a great week.
Kevin Sullivan with his judicial report of the week. In the meantime, here's our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. The arrival of warmer weather means more time outside for you and your pets. But even in your own backyard, there are some potential hazards that could get in the way of fun. And so can the products we use to keep the slugs from eating those plants. A new type of slug bait is on the market and often advertised as organic and safe for pets and children. Instead of the metal dehyde baits that have been in use for quite some time, this new bait uses iron phosphate. While iron phosphate is a natural ingredient found in our environment, owners should be aware that iron phosphate is toxic to animals if they eat too much of it. The Animal Poison Control Center lists these symptoms as signs of iron phosphate toxicity: lethargy and vomiting, severe dehydration, and collapse due to prolonged vomiting. 2 to 12 hours after ingestion, animals may suffer severe acid-base disturbance. In 2 to 4 days, animals will suffer from liver failure. So as with any chemical you use, do so sparingly and keep a close watch on your pets to see if they are attracted to it. It's always a good idea to have on hand the phone numbers for your veterinarian, a local emergency animal hospital, and the Poison Control Center. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Well, boys and girls, that wraps up our number 2 of Breakfast with Roger and Friends. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk a little medical news with Dr. Gene Sidler and a visit with our meteorologist, Mr. Weather Kyle Varnold, in the next hour as well. You're listening to Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois, and also on YouTube. Glad to see everybody. We have Terry Chamberlain here, Dave Pohls, and Tyrus Kileon, and we're so happy to see you on the other side of the microphone. Or should we say microphones? It is a Wednesday, the 11th of March, and we begin with the check of the weather brought to you by our good friend Sam Lilly and Associates. Sam has been available providing people with insurance coverage for some 40 years now, specializing in Medicare and plans for senior services. And you can reach Sam Lilly today at 309-245-4374. Weather-wise, we know we had some really rough weather last night, but we pretty much in the Peoria area avoided the worst area, probably Kankakee County, where 7 people were injured, and we've had some power outages, according to Ameren, in parts of Tazewell County, and we were under a tornado watch until about 11 o'clock last night, and many of us stayed up a lot longer than 11 p.m.,
Yes, we did.
including some of the weather people on the local television station. Showers, thunderstorms will continue today. Temperatures falling to probably 39 by 1, according to the National Weather Bureau. We're already there. And it'll be cold and windy tonight with a low 29 tomorrow. Cloudy 50 tomorrow night. Cloudy and windy 42 overnight low. Friday it'll be sunny and windy and 52. Cloudy on Saturday 51. Currently our temperature 39 degrees. Let's get into the news with Terry and Dave.
Iran's leadership has shown no signs of giving up, even though its military and oil refineries have been devastated by unrelenting airstrikes. U.S. forces destroyed 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels near the strategic Strait of Hormuz. Iran is seeking to block the movement of oil tankers, but without much success. President Trump has warned more bombs and missiles are on the agenda for Iran until the government yells uncle, as in Uncle Sam.
Now, the news media isn't helping the fight against Iran, state sponsors of terrorism. Reporters yesterday asked White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt how long the war was going to last. Those of us who are old enough to remember, and that's nobody in this room, of course,
Other than Roger.
don't recall asking FDR how long World War II was going to last, or Harry Truman the same question regarding the Korean War.
Gas prices are up due to the conflict with Iran. Governor Gavin Newsom blames Trump for the high prices, but failed to acknowledge California levies the highest state gas rate at 71 cents a gallon. Illinois comes in close second with 66.4 cents a gallon. New York Senator Chuck Schumer wants the president to dip into the oil reserve to help stabilize prices. However, when Trump sought to replenish the supply when prices were down, Schumer opposed the effort. Just another example of Schumer's short-term memory loss, said the White House.
There are a lot of polls conducted by news outlets, and most people take the results with a grain of salt or perhaps a sack of other material. Republicans gleefully like to talk about an NBC poll showing those surveyed have a higher opinion of ICE agents than what they think about the Democratic Party, Governor Newsom, and AOC. Trump was outpolled in popularity by Marco Rubio. Pope Leo was rated the highest, and Iran was last.
In medical news, Mayo Clinic in Florida is conducting clinical trials using an innovative potential solution to treat people whose cancer has spread to their abdominal cavity. The Mayo doctors are using aerosol chemotherapy directly on cancer cells in the peritoneum, the membrane that lines the abdominal cavity and the organs within it. Officials say the procedure makes untreatable abdominal cancer treatable.
In local news, a Peoria County grand jury has indicted 18-year-old Davier Dillard for attempted murder, robbery, possession of a stolen vehicle, and fleeing officers. Dillard was the driver of a stolen Jeep that terrorized people in parts of Peoria last month. He's accused of trying to run over a 14-year-old on the way to Peoria High School before he was stopped by police at Mania University using spike strips. His partner in crime, 18-year-old Quinzel Foy, has been charged with robbery. 4 others in the vehicle, all minors, have not been charged.
Morton residents are sad after learning the once popular Great Harvest Bread store will not reopen. The bakery and restaurant has been closed since it was devastated by fire last November.
You worked in that area. Did you ever eat it?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, their soups and half sandwiches were quite
very
a
good.
noontime treat, weren't they?
Great
Yes,
Harvest
they
is
were.
Great, yes. WEEK Television is in a contractual dispute with the Dish Network. Dish is threatening to drop Channel 25 and other gray media stations, owners of WEEK. The TV station is asking for viewers to call Dish to complain, and it's all about money. And those are our headline news for this hour.
There you go. Now we have news from WCBU brought to you by Spoon River Home Health. Bridging the gap in healthcare since 1993, Spoon River Home Health has been caring for people of all ages in their homes where recovery and healing faster and more comfortable. Learn more from Spoon River at 309-245-0723. That number again, 245-0723.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Ryan Denham. Opponents of a data center proposed to be built in Pekin cheered at a city council meeting when Mayor Mary Burris announced the city is no longer interested in the project. Pekin resident Mark Stevens is one of the opponents who is happy that project is no longer under consideration.
There's a difference, one, between hearing versus listening. And I thank the mayor, I thank the city council, I thank the staff of listening rather than just not paying lip service.
The council is expected to vote in 2 weeks to legally end its connection with the data center developer. A town hall and a data center planned for the next night at Pekin Community High School that was expected to draw hundreds has now been canceled. The recent mortality and morbidity report by the Illinois Department of Public Health reveals that people experiencing homelessness have a much higher rate of hospitalization and premature death. That report found that 3,000 people experiencing homelessness died from 2017 to 2023. Capital News Illinois reports experts say Illinois must push to be proactive, not reactive, to the needs of homeless communities. Governor J.B. Pritzker has proposed funding for Home Illinois be reduced by $7.6 million. University of Illinois Extension is looking for volunteers to help plant 25 new oak trees in Woodford County. Those trees, planned for the Parklands Bluffs, will help combat carbon neutrality and nutrient runoff in the area. Both are issues affecting air and water quality and climate change and the environment. 40 other counties will join Woodford in the 4-H Green Communities Trees program to plant over 1,000 new trees statewide. Illinois and Cook County have erased more than $2 billion in medical debt for over 1 million residents. That is through a partnership with a nonprofit that buys medical debt for pennies on the dollar. Patients are getting an average of about $1,200 in relief since that program was started in 2022. Residents across Illinois say the relief has lifted long-standing financial burdens that had been sent to collections and in some cases affected their credit ratings. Lawmakers are divided on funding for that state program, with supporters pushing to expand it and critics raising concerns about spending. You can find more news at WCBU.org. I'm Ryan Denham.
All right, time for sports. With all the latest, here's Tyrus. Good morning, Tyrus.
Good morning, Roger. Let's start with some Bradley basketball. Their season might be over after losing the Missouri Valley tournament to UNI 73-69. So, might be hanging on by a thread there. Bradley girls basketball starts their tournament Friday at 2:30 p.m. versus Northern Iowa in Iowa. Other news in college basketball, Illinois basketball will play this Friday at 1:30 p.m. in the Big Ten tournament. Illinois girls basketball, they lost recently in the Big Ten, 64-58 to number 9 Iowa. NFL news, deals become official today at 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is 3 o'clock for our time around the NFL. Speaking of deals, the Ravens and the Raiders deal last night for a superstar edge rusher Max Crosby fell through because the Ravens backed out, they say, due to medical concerns, which it seems a little fishy. And the deal the Raiders would have got from them was a first rounder this year and next year. And now, so we got some breaking news. The Ravens are going to sign Trey Hendrickson to a 4-year, $112 million deal. So there's everybody's suspicion right there because they're like, oh, he's available, so let's just back out of the deal and sign this guy. So there's going to be, a lot of people are going to be kind of upset, and maybe those suspicions are probably true there.
I would say so.
Yeah, it looks like it right now. They look pretty guilty.
They knew what they wanted.
Oh, yeah. And, he's also one of the better edge rushers.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he's coming off an injury, but he'll be fine. He'll be good. The Bears made a series of moves They got Kobe Bryant, safety from the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. Linebacker Devin Bush to a 3-year deal. Neville Gallimore, what a name, right?
I love that name.
To strengthen the defensive line. Khalif Raymond he's a kick returner, wide receiver. He got a little 1-year deal. Cam Lewis from the Bills. A lot of these guys are tough-nosed players, I'm not going to lie. He's a good pickup, a little depth and starter. And Katavius Street adds to the defensive line. They re-upped Braxton Jones, the offensive tackle, defensive end and linebacker Daniel Hardy. Linebacker DeMarco Jackson to a 2-year deal. He played well for them, filling in last year. And backup quarterback Case Keenum back on a 2-year deal. In the MLB and spring training, the Cubs lost to the Rangers 8-3. They play today at 3:05 p.m. versus the Royals. The Cardinals lost to the Mets 6-1 yesterday. They play at 12:05 p.m. versus the Nationals. Today, Cardinals also sent down rising star Joshua Baez. He'll get a lot of time in AAA, and we might see him later this year. And he really made a case to be on the team.
I agree.
So, but they're going to allow him to have more time. White Sox lost 11-7 versus the Athletics. Play today at 3:05 p.m. versus the Angels. Phillies lost yesterday to the Yankees 4-2. They play the Blue Jays today at 12:05 p.m. Also, the World Baseball Classic, Team USA will face elimination with a loss last night, 8-6 to Italy. They will wait to see what happens when Italy plays Mexico at 7 p.m. today. At 7. NHL news, the Blackhawks are 24-29 coming off a win versus the Utah Mammoth 3-2 in overtime. Frank Nazar with a game winner. Connor Bedard, 2 assists. Rookie Drew Comesso, 22 out of 24 saves. They'll move on to play the Mammoth again tomorrow at 8 p.m. in Utah. St. Louis Blues, 25-29, and they're up by a point on the Blackhawks now. So they're both at the bottom of the standings. So just maybe a race to the bottom. I don't know. But
somebody asked me yesterday, do you have any contact on Blues tickets? Because I used to go. I'm like, I'm sure there's a lot of room there right now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's difficulty getting tickets right now.
No.
Although they are fun to see. If you ever been you see in the NHL, I mean, hockey, it's phenomenal. There's so much going on.
Fast sport.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple NHL games. It's pretty electric, and every goal is
absolutely
exciting. And anyways, the Blues lost to the Islanders last night, 4-3 in overtime. They play tomorrow in away game versus the Hurricanes at 6 p.m. We went to the Blues Blackhawks in St. Louis, and I got heckled there. But in the NBA, the Chicago Bulls are 27-38 coming off a gritty overtime win versus the Warriors in overtime. 130-124. Mas Buzelis had a career high 41 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Josh Giddey had another triple-double. His 17th as a Bull with 21 points, 13 rebounds, 17 assists. Leonard Miller had 17 points, 11 rebounds, a block and a steal. Trey Jones, 22 points, 5 assists. And Jalen Smith had 12 and 12, which clutch free throws to send them to overtime. I just mentioned those guys because everybody had their part in the game, so it's good to see. Next game is away as they play the Lakers at 9:30 p.m. tomorrow. Also in the NBA, the Miami Heat beat the Washington Wizards 150-129, but that's not the story. It is forward center Bam Adebayo scoring the second most points in NBA game in history with 83 points. Could have had 100 or more. He shot 20 for 43, 7 of 22 from 3. And 36 of 43 from the free throw line, along with 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. What a game for him. Also, Selection Sunday at 5 p.m. this Sunday. So
Get your brackets ready, right?
Oh yeah, get them ready.
Tyrus will be our bracketologist for the
Oh,
next
yeah.
couple weeks.
Yeah.
A local bracketologist.
That's
so-
right. I had when
I had so much fun.
when
isn't it?
Loyola went to the
Yeah.
Final Four, I
Yeah.
had them in the Final Four. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what
It's
happens
always
this
fun
year.
to pick those
All right.
upsets and getting them just right.
All
isn't
right,
it?
we've got Dr. Gene
That's
Sidler on
sports.
the line. Good morning, Gene.
Good morning, everyone.
And we're going to talk about that aerosol treatment that is a new development according to Mayo Clinic that's holding clinical trials.
Well, yes, it's a relatively new treatment, even though it does not involve a new drug or anything in that sense. It's just a different way of delivering it to the body. You're talking about pressurized intraperitoneal aerosol chemotherapy. They abbreviate it PIPAC, P-I-P-A-C. It's for people who have widespread cancer in the abdominal cavity. The abdominal compartment is lined with a membrane called the peritoneum, and that's where the intraperitoneal aerosol chemotherapy is delivered. And they basically just use chemotherapy, the same chemotherapy that you would give intravenously, but it's given inside the abdomen. First, they inflate the abdomen with carbon dioxide, and it allows then for you to spray the chemotherapy so that it coats the peritoneal membrane and is able to reach the cancers. Usually what happens is multiple cancers will spread inside the abdominal compartment with diseases like colon cancer and ovarian cancer and stomach cancer. And it's basically a way to slow the growth of the metastatic cancer and give people more time. It's not a cure. It's not going to cure cancer. It's just going to slow its growth and development, and it helps give people more time. It's also less symptomatic because the other way of giving the chemotherapy is intravenous, which means that it goes to all organs of the body. It goes everywhere through the bloodstream, and it's going to cause a lot more side effects, and you have to give lower doses of it as opposed to giving it this new way. You can give doses that might be more effective and have fewer side effects.
Well, it's interesting that you give these specific details because the headlines are that attracted my attention to cover the story. Part of our newscast this morning was a new method to treat the untreatable. And obviously, when you get down to the nitty-gritty details, as you've done this morning, the headline's not totally telling the truth.
Well, it is treating it. It's just not treating it for a cure. You're not trying to achieve anything more than just maybe a little bit of remission and giving the patient more time and maybe better quality of life in the final time that they have.
You know, it's interesting. I get your comment, feedback. Our news partner, WCBU, had mentioned there were 300 deaths of homeless people, and it's time to reach out and take care of them, to be proactive instead of reactive. But the period of time from 2017 to 2023, 6 years, 300 deaths, that's 50 a year. And as we all know from various reports and so forth, many of the homeless, too many as a matter of fact, are drug addicts, and there are many people who are not homeless who can't afford medical care. Are we focusing too much in one direction?
Oh, you're asking me now to wade into the political side of things here, Roger. Not exactly my expertise. I imagine so, because when government gets involved with things and politicians are involved, they're worried probably more about their next election than they are about helping the people that they serve. And so, yeah, maybe so. I think these are problems that should have been addressed much earlier than they have been. We've all seen the images of these homeless people on the street, and it's quite pathetic.
Yeah, I know when I see the video, the news reports of the homeless as an example in Los Angeles, I don't know how you can reach out and give health care to many of those people, some of which probably aren't in a condition to even step forward and say, I haven't felt good. You want to take care of everybody, but I happen to know people because of the jobs they have, which are not well-paying jobs, and working for employers who don't provide health care. I would reach out and make sure in the list of people on the priority list for health care, those people would be addressed initially, and hopefully take care of everybody, but I don't know if we're at that point in society today. And that's not a political statement, that's just a matter of economics.
Well, yeah, certainly it shouldn't be a political issue, but yeah, unfortunately, the way we approach it does drag us in that direction. But you're right. I mean, we have the resources to help these people, especially the ones that need medical attention, and yet haven't figured out a way to apply it broadly enough to help all of them.
Well, one of the things that certainly was political as well as medical is COVID-19 and the vaccines. Do you know if there are still people like CVS and other Walgreens and so forth, are they still pushing the vaccine for Americans?
Well, it's still available. Anybody who wants it can go in and get a booster shot, but the push has declined. As you know, the new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, has downplayed the need for more booster shots. And there have been studies, and we've talked about these before. The studies have actually been done and revealed that the number of times you get COVID-19 seems to be directly related to how many vaccine boosters that you've had. So it doesn't appear that getting more boosters is helping people. I have, for many years now, have not recommended that people keep getting those boosters.
Yeah, and I know the stores, again, talking about CVS and Walgreens, they got a big sign of all the different vaccines that are available, and I get the impression if they aren't free, they're less cost. What's your read on that?
Well, most people have health insurance, and so the majority of times the stores will just charge your health insurance, and that pays pretty well. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it's a profitable venture for the drugstores, but it also gets you in the store, and most people would probably buy other things while they're there. So it's kind of like the discounts you get at the grocery store. They'll always have some things on sale. The loss leaders, they call it, where you get you in the store. They know you're going to buy other things too, and so they can afford to break even or lose money even on some items.
Yeah. Are there any particular vaccines you want to emphasize people should get?
Well, I still am a strong believer in the yearly flu shot. Now we're just about on the last leg of the flu season, although there are still cases, outbreaks of it in parts of the country, and there's even still occasional deaths being reported due to flu. We had a fairly strong flu season nationwide this year, although not so much in the Midwest, and so we didn't see a lot of it in central Illinois. There was a bit more up in Chicago area, but the flu vaccine is definitely the one I would emphasize for most healthy people to get on a yearly basis, especially older individuals, and especially for people who aren't so healthy that probably need to be protected a little bit more from getting the virus. Otherwise, I would just encourage people when they see their doctor to talk to their doctors about what they would recommend.
Dr. Sidler, this is Dave here. Got a quick question.
Hey, Dave.
The shingles vaccine, can you, is there thoughts you have on that as far as recommendations and things like that?
Well, yeah. Now this latest one, the new one that came out a couple of years ago, I do feel like that is a more useful vaccine for older folks. The first generation of the shingles vaccines weren't highly effective. They were very expensive. They just didn't work all that well, and people would still get the shingles who had the vaccine. And the newer ones are 75% effective, which is a much higher percentage. Again, it's up to each individual. Shingles is a very painful disease, but it isn't fatal. And we do have antiviral antibiotics that can very effectively treat it if people recognize what it is early enough and get to their doctor or get on medication for it. So it isn't something that is an absolute necessity, but I think it can be useful for some people to take, yes.
Yeah, and good question. I happen to, funny that you bring this up, Dave and Dr. Sidler. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I had a family member who got the vaccine and still got the shingles.
Yeah.
That can happen.
Are the symptoms minimized? Is that kind of what you're saying? Or, I mean, you know.
All I know is they said they got the vaccine.
Ideally, it blocks the virus from reactivating. Shingles is a virus that is actually already in your system. It's the same virus that causes chickenpox. It just goes into what we call a latent form, sort of a dormant form in the body for decades sometimes, and then reemerges due to various factors, stress and other things, and sometimes just our immune system declines as we get older and we make less antibodies, and the virus can reemerge. So yes, the vaccine is intended to boost the immunity, put more antibodies in our system, and help keep that thing dormant.
Yes. All right. I know we talked about it earlier this week. A little reminder, Bradley and the Bradley coach and the players and the fans are on the edge of their seats, hoping that they'll be invited to the NIT. What are your betting odds that will or will not happen?
Well, I'm hopeful that it happens, but I think the chances are less than 50-50. I think that there's just too many other teams that might be seated just a hair above Bradley in terms of their overall profile and how the selection committee makes their decisions. But it's a possibility. Now, they won't announce the NIT selections until much later than what Tyrus mentioned. At 5 p.m. is the CBS show where the NCAA selections are mentioned region by region. And then the NIT selection people go to work with the teams that are left over and are not in the NCAA. And usually their announcements come 2 or 3 or as much as 4 hours later on Sunday night. So we should know by 8 or 9 o'clock at night Sunday if Bradley got a bid. I just think the odds are not great.
Yeah. A little reminder, get more information from BradleyFans.com, the website sponsored by Dr. Gene Sitter. And give your assessment, your final analysis, whether they get invited or not, the Bradley basketball season.
Well, the season, I think, met all the expectations that people had. Remember, they were picked 4th in the preseason poll by coaches and media. And we looked at the roster at the start of the season. We talked about this a few times on the show, that Bradley appeared to lose too much from last season. They had 9 seniors that graduated. Now, not all of them were starters or key players, but they did lose 4 of the 5 starters from last year's team, which was an NIT team, and finished second to Drake and made it to the championship game in the tournament last year, losing again to Drake. That was that Drake team, Ben McCullum and Bennett Sturts, the point guard, that all moved over to Iowa after 1 year at Drake. they were a very good team, and Bradley was a terrific team too. Just happened that it was the same year that Drake had maybe one of their best teams ever. But Bradley, by losing 4 of the 5 starters from last year's team, it looked like this was not going to be as good a year, and yet it turned out to be pretty close to as good. They ended up with the number 2 seed in the regular season, finished tied for second, but number 2 seed. Unfortunately, got knocked off in the semifinals this year instead of making it to the championship game. So it was a slight letdown there at the end, but overall, looking back, I think that the players and the coaches did a terrific job to be able to get to where they did by the end of the year, win 20-plus games again, and have a season where they came very close to making it to that championship round of the tournament. Again, just a slight disappointment there at the end. We'd obviously like to be playing in the NCAA tournament come next week, but it's just not going to happen.
Yes, a bounce here, shot there in the closing seconds, minutes of the game, and Bradley very well could have been in the championship game. However, I do believe UIC matches up pretty good against Bradley. They did not match up very well against Northern Iowa. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, UIC is a very athletic team, and they surprised everybody. Much better season for them than anyone anticipated, because they finished at or near the bottom, next to last the last 2 years, and then this year they finished tied for second at the end of the year. So great job by their coach, Rob Esan, the new coach they've got there. Northern Iowa, they kind of surprised everybody coming on strong at the end, because they only were 11-9 in the conference, just barely above 500, and they were the number 6 seed. They were the lowest seed in the history of the Missouri Valley Conference tournament to go all the way and win the championship. Their coach, they've got them playing well right at the right time, and managed to run through the tournament. They pulled out way ahead of Bradley at I think
18-point lead.
16, 18-point lead, and yet Bradley closed that to as little as 3 and ended up losing by 4. They a couple of, like you say, a couple of different events in that game, and maybe Bradley would have been playing for the championship there instead of Northern Iowa.
Well, Dr. Sadler, one question I have too. I wonder how the NIL and the transfer portal will affect the Valley in this coming year. It just seems like it's changed the whole landscape, especially Bradley.
It does, it does every year. You got teams like Murray State this year that had an entire new roster. They didn't have any players.
That's what I was thinking.
That came back from last year. Now Bradley, Coach Wardle has not delved real deeply into the portal in previous years, but we did have a couple of players like Alex Schubricks, the best shooter on the team, and A.J. Smith had a terrific year for Bradley. Those 2 portal transfers really helped Bradley, and they will probably do that again this year. I think the Coach Wardle sees the portal as an important way to replace players with talent that's ready to play right away. You like having freshmen and having them develop, but then you risk the fact that if they get good, then they could transfer and go somewhere else. So you got to be prepared, and you got to play the game the way all the other teams are playing it now, and that's through the portal, the transfer portal, which it's changed the whole landscape of college basketball. You got teams like the major conferences that can afford to pay 6 and 7 figures of NIL money, that's name, image, and likeness money, and can get any player that they want, and they use teams like Bradley as their minor leagues, basically, and lure the players that they want to take away from the schools that have developed the talent.
Certainly tough to be a mid-major, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we have poor leadership in the NCAA. They've made so many bad decisions in recent years that you wonder where their business acumen is, and it certainly has not made college sports better, in my opinion.
I agree. I'm not a fan of the direction that the NCAA is headed. Much of it, though, is forced by legal cases. The NIL came from a decision from the Supreme Court that forced these schools to allow that. And you know, in some senses, it's good that these kids deserve the right to their own name, image, and likeness. But again, you start putting this massive amount of monies into the college game, it's going to change everything. And you'll see more and more schools drop out of Division I or just drop sports altogether. And this year, there's several major colleges that are doing that, and I think we'll see more of it as the years progress.
Well, look at the Supreme Court. The members, how many of those played basketball? Maybe tiddlywinks, ping pong, but I don't believe Amy Barrett played anything, including hopscotch.
Yeah. No comment.
No comment on that. Yeah.
You're getting me into politics again.
I love it. Anyway, anything else you want to touch on before we say adios?
No, I'll just touch on saying adios and see you tomorrow, and then we can talk more.
There you got it. And don't forget, check out bradleyfans.com for more information.
Got a lot of new recruiting information there people can check out as well.
Yeah. And if you don't go there, join us tomorrow, because that's when Dr. Gene Siller will join us as well. Have a great day, Gene. Appreciate it. God bless.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right. Bye, everyone.
All right. All right, let's do our final newscast of the morning. This is the time of the year some homeowners learn they have a roof that leaks. That's not good, and that means it's time to call Hines Roofing. The experts. Hines Roofing has been repairing and or replacing roofs in Central Illinois for over, count the years, 33 years. This guy knows roofing. For a no-obligation inspection of your roof, call Doug Hines. He's an Army veteran at 309-672-0910. That's Hines Roofing, Doug Hines. Quality work by quality people. Speaking of quality people, here's Terry Chamberlain.
Oh, thank you, Roger.
You're welcome.
The sirens were wailing last night in Tel Aviv, Israel, and they weren't the tornado sirens we were hearing. Iran launched multiple missiles against the Jewish nation.
Well, you might be right. They have the muscle.
They have the muscle, too.
Exactly.
Iran's leadership has shown no sign of giving up, even though its military and oil refineries have been destroyed by unrelenting airstrikes. U.S. forces sunk 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels near the strategic Strait of Hormuz. Iran is seeking to block the movement of oil tankers. President Trump has warned more bombs and missiles are on the agenda for Iran until the government yells "Uncle," as in Uncle Sam. The news media is not helping the fight against Iran, state sponsors of terrorism. Reporters yesterday asked White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt how long the war was going to last. There's one person in the studio who remembers that they didn't ask FDR how long World War II was going to last, nor did they ask Harry Truman the same question regarding the Korean War.
Or Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, that's right.
Honest Abe.
Gas prices are up due to the conflict with Iran. Governor Gavin Newsom blames Trump for the high prices, but failed to acknowledge California levies the highest state gas rate at 71 cents a gallon. Illinois is coming in a close second with 66.4 cents a gallon. New York Senator Chuck Schumer wants the president to dip into the oil reserve to help stabilize prices. However, when Trump sought to replenish the supply when prices were down, Schumer opposed the effort. Just another example of Schumer's short-term memory loss, said the White House. In medical news, Mayo Clinic in Florida is conducting clinical trials using an innovative potential solution to treat people whose cancer has spread to the abdominal cavity. Mayo doctors are using aerosol chemotherapy directly on cancer cells in the peritoneum, the membrane that lines the abdominal cavity and the organs within it. Officials say the procedure makes untreatable abdominal cancer treatable. And we just heard Dr. Sittler say, well, it's not curing it, but it can just make people's lives a little
more pleasant.
A little more pleasant for those final years. Yes.
Well said.
In local news, a Peoria County grand jury has indicted 18-year-old Javier Dillard for attempted murder, robbery, possession of a stolen vehicle, and fleeing officers. Dillard was the driver of a stolen Jeep that terrorized people in parts of Peoria last month. He is accused of trying to run over a 14-year-old on the way to Peoria High School before he was stopped by police at Maine and University using spike strips. His partner in crime, 18-year-old Quinzel Foy, has been charged with robbery. 4 others in the vehicle, all minors, have not been charged. And finally, WEEK Television is in a contractual dispute with the Dish Network. Dish is threatening to drop Channel 25 and other gray media stations, the owners of WEEK. The TV station is asking for viewers to call Dish to complain. It's all about money.
You bet. Do you know anybody, or have you, anyone in this room, ever had a dish?
Yeah, my parents did.
Your
It's
parents did.
still on the roof of the house.
What were the benefits and the liabilities of a dish?
It's been so long ago, I don't remember.
My understanding is certain weather conditions can cause you to lose your signal if you have a dish.
They can. When I lived in Indiana for a while, we had a dish, and it was in the backyard. We didn't have it mounted on the roof of the mobile home. And you're right. Boy, when we got a bad storm or something, it just interfered with.
That's what I heard.
There's so many channels too. Like
it can knock it off
You
the
get
roof
lots
too.
of channels, but
Be dangling by a thread.
Yeah.
The only dish I like is meatloaf and potatoes.
Right.
Not going to be easy.
I like those
Yep.
dishes.
Chicken and waffles.
I had a dish the other day of tater tot casserole.
Oh, I love
And
tater
you
tot
know,
casserole.
I love that so much that after my wife passed away, there was a guy on television, maybe a gal, that quick dishes that you can make. And I sent away for the book, and I made, and I was very proud of myself, tater tot casserole.
That's great.
It is absolutely one. So what, if memory serves right, it's mushroom soup, right?
Cream of mushroom soup.
And cream of mushroom soup, and tater tots, and ground hamburger, right?
And you
Is
can throw in onions if you want to.
Right.
Oh, no,
Or
don't.
no onions.
no.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you gotta the
Throw in
onions.
raisins, but not onions. No, you wouldn't throw raisins.
I don't think I want your tater tot casserole. It's got raisins in it.
See,
No,
I would
I
put in
wouldn't do
green
that.
peppers.
I was
You would,
peppers,
yeah.
not
You
green
like
peppers.
to yeah.
Not hot peppers, just green pepper. You know, the green peppers.
Well, you don't want
Those are not spicy. Just when you say
No.
pepper, right away I think.
No,
oh,
you're thinking hot
ooh.
peppers. No, like green or red or yellow peppers.
Yeah.
We want to close our news report at any rate by extending condolences to Hetty Elliott Gardner. Hetty, of course, the daughter of my dear friend, and she's and her family have been dear friends as well. She lost her husband yesterday, Zeb, who was a retired firefighter. And Hetty, if you're listening, you know you and your family are in her thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Check of the weather brought to you by Advanced Medical Transport, the premier provider of emergency and scheduled ambulance services in central, western, and eastern Illinois. More than 500 AMT employees, men and women, on the job, dedicated to offering and providing the best in healthcare. Saving lives is what they do. What we do is give you the weather. We were under a tornado watch yesterday until about 11 o'clock. And many of us continue to watch the boob tube even after 11 o'clock to make sure if we were going to go to sleep, we would wake up.
Right.
So,
Without a log over
yeah.
your head.
Kankakee and Kankakee County in the state of Illinois, I think, got hit the hardest. Last report, 7, maybe up to 9 people injured, no deaths. We've had some power outages, according to Ameren. Predominantly in Tazewell County. Otherwise today, more showers and thunder boomers, and falling temperatures. Were down to 39 degrees. Will you check your thermometers? Because people in the studio
We're going to stick our head out
indicated
our
to me.
window.
Yeah,
and
we
we're gonna
started
call it.
out at 50 degrees, and within a blink of the eye, it was at now 39.
38.
38 degrees, okay. Cold and windy tonight with a low 29. Tomorrow, increasing cloudiness, high 50 tomorrow night windy and cloudy, 42. Friday, it'll be sunny and windy, 52 the high. Saturday, cloudy and 51. And as you heard, our temperature right now at 38 degrees. And coming up again, an exclusive up-to-date check of the weather from our meteorologist, the highly qualified and experienced Mr. Weather, Kyle Varnold. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let's hear about our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. The arrival of warmer weather means more time outside for you and your pets. But even in your own backyard, there are some potential hazards that could get in the way of fun. And so can the products we use to keep the slugs from eating those plants. A new type of slug bait is on the market and often advertised as organic and safe for pets and children. Instead of the metaldehyde baits that have been in use for quite some time, this new bait uses iron phosphate. While iron phosphate is a natural ingredient found in our environment, owners should be aware that iron phosphate is toxic to animals if they eat too much of it. The Animal Poison Control Center lists these symptoms as signs of iron phosphate toxicity: lethargy and vomiting, severe dehydration, and collapse due to prolonged vomiting. 2 to 12 hours after ingestion, animals may suffer severe acid-base disturbance. In 2 to 4 days, animals will suffer from liver failure. So as with any chemical you use, do so sparingly and keep a close watch on your pets to see if they are attracted to it. It's always a good idea to have on hand the phone numbers for your veterinarian, a local emergency animal hospital, and the Poison Control Center. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Okay, we're going to hear from Kyle Varnold here shortly. In the meantime, this day in history, March 11th, 1942, a very important event took place. What was it? And I will tell you, it was not in the United States.
I'm going to guess Europe.
No.
It was in, was it in Africa?
No, it's not in Africa.
But it was connected to World War II, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 1942, March 11th.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
God, it wasn't Europe.
Which theater, was it in the Pacific Theater?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're into the Japanese
Yes.
side,
Mhm.
okay?
Yes. Mhm.
So, Battle of Midway.
That was very good. I'm sure that was an event.
But it was not the one we're looking for.
But it was not.
So
the
are
one
we
I'm
talking
looking
a battle or an event? So let's narrow that.
An
down.
event.
An event, okay, and it happened in the Pacific Theater. Okay, 42.
I'm going to correct myself. You said a battle. Yes, technically it did involve a
Did it
battle.
involve a ship sinking?
No.
Okay, so now we're narrowing it a little bit.
Yes.
42.
Did it involve airplanes? Was it a
Was this MacArthur leaving the Philippines?
That is absolutely correct. You nailed
I
it.
will return, he said.
Yeah.
Yep.
I knew you'd get there.
President Franklin D. Roosevelt told Douglas MacArthur, get out of the Philippines, as the American defense of the islands crumbled, leaving some 90,000 people, including Kyle Varnold, to fend for themselves.
There we go.
Speaking
Talk
of,
about a segue.
Speaking of Kyle, he's on the line. Good morning, Kyle.
Were you just talking about me? My ears were burning. Good
Yes,
morning.
you
Mr.
were.
Fred.
Yes.
What were you guys saying?
We were saying what a neat guy you were and are, and that you nailed the forecast. You are the premier meteorologist, college educated in the field of meteorology, and you know what you're talking about, for the most part.
Thank you, Northern Illinois University. Thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Shagnon, Dr. Bentley, Dr. Song, and everyone I've ever encountered in my life who's kind of cheered me along the way. But no, you're very, very kind. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, the storms yesterday did take the Northern Solution, which we spoke about just 24 hours ago on this very time, on this very program, how we are keeping an eye, and then I had made a prediction which was kind of bold at the time, but I said that it'll stay north of town, and I look for it to be between Illinois 17 and I-88, and for the most part it was contained to that area. First cell spouted off right around the 340, 345 mark near Secor, Illinois, which is a town just east of Eureka, and then it later touched down as a tornado about 20 minutes later just north of Pontiac, on the northwest side of Pontiac. And then going to be monitoring, but I believe it is the same cell that did cause that F3, maybe F4 tornado just south of Kankakee, Illinois there yesterday afternoon. Really impressive. And then we also saw with that cell, which was a supercell, 6-inch hailstones. So like softball-sized hailstones, which is absolutely just terrifying to think of. And lots of insurance claims in Kankakee County and Grundy County and Will County today. But yeah, it was very, very impressive system. It dodged us for the most part. We did get the second wave come through in the form of a quasi-linear storm formation right around the midnight hour. Some hail reports in Tremont, and I heard there was a hail report in Morton, and there was a hail report in Green Valley, so it does make sense with that line of storms. The winds weren't as damaging as what we thought when that line of storms came through, so the outflow wasn't as impressive as it was at 11 o'clock when it came through Princeville and Tyrus's house.
Yeah.
But no, it just no, it was a pretty exciting day, and yeah, we had a tornado just southwest of Kewanee. They're going to go out and confirm that today. The Weather Service is right south of a small town, or northeast of a small town called Ontario, Illinois, which is a little clump of houses for the most part, but that is where it was first noticed. And then, yeah, the storm structure itself was really, really impressive. We were in a level 2 hatched risk yesterday for tornadoes, which is the first level 2 SPC has issued in the United States this year. So we knew something was going to go down. It was really, thank God it wasn't in Peoria. It wasn't in Morton or Washington or Princeville. It was to the northeast of us. But, you know, we knew something was going to happen. The atmosphere was a powder keg yesterday, and just thankfully it exploded to the north of us. If you saw the lightning show last night in the northern skies, you certainly knew the powder keg was up there, because it was quite evident from a visual perspective.
You know, Kyle, you have a college degree in meteorology, and you love the field of meteorology, and even as a young boy and so forth. But is it also true, because of people like you, more and more people are getting, you might say, savvy, or think they are, about the weather, because we can look on our cell phones now, or computers, or both, and see the weather patterns on our screens, and suddenly we know as much about weather as the TV people, or we think we do.
Yeah, no, that is accurate. It used to be, this goes back to the Weather Service days, when we teach host a storm spotter class. That was one of the services National Weather Service Lincoln and all the Weather Service installations provide. And we'd get this farmer, this firefighter who thinks he knows more than what us degree meteorologists do. And now we have it in the storm chasing field where you have these people live YouTubing, streaming, and they were in the area yesterday. Boy, were they ever! They were all going to Pontiac, and then they're all chasing it down to Kankakee. And next thing we know, they're over in northwest Indiana, because that was the most impressive cell out of the supercells yesterday. And since we have talked, it has been confirmed that cell, that tornado in Pontiac, was the same supercell that dropped the tornado just south of Kankakee, Bourbonnais area. But yeah, so that was very, very worthy of note. Just near the Kankakee Airport, actually, on the southeast side of town. But no, it just there were so many of them. We had the storm spotter I follow. He was up in the Quad Cities area, and as far as up there was concerned, it hasn't been confirmed yet. We're still waiting on it, but they believe that was the tornado there southwest of Kankakee, which could also be the one that will be confirmed as it moved across Stark County and Marshall County, just north of Lakin, that hit Lake Wildwood there west of Varna, Illinois, because we did get some good hail reports out of that cell too at about 8:30 last night as that cell moved across. And no, but when you look at the map, the hail reports, so everything after or before 9 o'clock was on the northern side of us, and then the midnight line we had come through. So Goodfield, Illinois at 12:40 had a 62-mile-an-hour wind gust. Tremont had 1.125 inch hail at 12:28 a.m. Mackinac had an inch hailstone at 12:37 a.m. We had trees down, some big limbs down in Pekin at 12:22 a.m. And then we're also looking at a possible tornado. There was a barn that was damaged. They're going to go out and check it out today near Goofy Ridge.
Goofy Ridge,
northwest of Topeka.
One
Goofy
of my
Ridge doesn't
favorite
take much
towns
to blow down anything at Goofy Ridge. And no offense to Goofy Ridge, but yeah. But no, at 11:58 p.m. they think it might have been a possible weak tornado there, just west of Goofy Ridge near Buzzville in Mason County. So we'll have to wait and see what comes of that. But no, it was an eventful afternoon, an eventful evening, and thankfully it all avoided the Peoria area.
Yeah, you're
Aside
right.
from some rain, which we definitely needed. Thanks be to God.
And Ameren reported power outages in isolated areas of central Illinois as well.
South Pekin had some power reports, which I believe was wind-related. Could be that storm that came through around 12:15, 12:30. And then we had some power outages in the city of Peoria, which was wind knocked down a limb onto a substation, I guess, and so about 700 people without power in the Peoria area.
All right, anything else you want to add for the good of the program this morning?
Yeah, sure. It's about 40 degrees cooler today than it was yesterday, so don't be surprised when you step outside. Get your jackets back out.
Yep.
And 50 for a high tomorrow, a lot more sunshine in the picture. We'll be right around the 50-degree mark for the weekend. We have some rain coming back in Saturday night into Sunday. And then what could be the coldest St. Patrick's Day I can recall next week, with a high right now of about 32 degrees, so right at freezing, which will be a very, very, very frigid parade come 10:30 next Tuesday morning on the streets of Peoria. But alcohol seems to warm us up, so
that's right. Make sure you take plenty of antifreeze as you go for the big
Lots
parade.
of
Are you in the parade as?
I am. No.
As a leprechaun again.
Leprechaun again.
You
so.
love it.
I do. I enjoy it, but I will be dressed like a leprechaun exploring the Arctic. Just a heads up. So.
Yeah, there you go. We want our leprechaun to be warm. Right, so put on your long underwear. You bet. All right,
Amen.
Kyle. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day. You bet. Kyle Varnold, Mr. Weather, and that should do just about everything on this Wednesday morning. Stay warm. Take care of yourself. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Of course. And Terry, I think you have the day off tomorrow.
I do.
And we'll enjoy it. Although you're going to work hard, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I have a
Yeah,
helper
but-
coming to help me tomorrow.
Well, good.
Yes.
That sounds good. And Tyrus, thank as usual for outstanding report on sports this morning. In the meantime, have a great day, everybody. Remember, God loves you, and so do we. In the meantime, listen to the rain.
Listen to the rain.
That's what I just got through saying.
There's something in the rhythm, something so inviting in the music that it makes. As it whispers on the window, like a voice inside my heart, I hear it begging me to stay. How can we deny that it's anything but right? Just listen to the rain.